Chapter 3876. Everyone stayed away from Kang Shinmu. At this moment, Jiang Shenwu heaved a sigh of relief. If there were still people around him, it wouldn't be convenient for him to unleash his devouring power. But now, he could unleash his full strength. The Zhoulong's nether ruins is very vast. Even the inheritor of the heavenly dragon's blood essence can easily transform into a dragon here. Not to mention the others, just the profound shadow snake is about the same size as Kang Shinmu in his human form. Not to mention, there are even bigger demon beasts in the depths of the Zhoulong's nether ruins. The profound shadow snake is just a small thing at the entrance of the Zhoulong's nether ruins. Devour. Kang Shinmu's devouring power emerged. He grabbed the profound shadow snake's neck and then activated his roaring sky dragon claw. Although he did not transform into a dragon, when he used his roaring sky dragon claw, there was still a burst of divine dragon's might roaring out. A dragon claw shadow appeared on his hand and whistled through the air, cutting the profound shadow snake's skin. The skin of the profound shadow snake could be considered rough and thick, with tough scales. However, when faced with Jiang Shenwu's roaring sky dragon claw, it still couldn't withstand it. A wound appeared on its skin, and pitch-black poisonous blood flowed out. After all, Kang Shinmu has inherited the blood essence of a true dragon. His strength has increased a lot compared to before. He has killed many demon beasts like the profound shadow snake in the Heaven Drive forest. Those demon beasts have all become monster dawn in Kang Shinmu's hands. The black devouring power corroded the profound shadow snake's body through the wound and began to devour its strength. Then, waves of poison were swallowed into Kang Shinmu's body, but it was dissolved by the devouring power. In the end, it gave Kang Shinmu a resistance to this kind of poison. The profound shadow snake knew that it had encountered a tough opponent. It wanted to escape but it could not. In the end, it could only be completely devoured by Kang Shinmu. It issued a sharp hissing sound, which was extremely mournful and terrifying. "Are you calling for your companions?" The corners of Kang Shinmu's mouth curled up, but he didn't care. He took out the remaining Yao core of the mysterious shadow snake and continued to move deeper into the ruins. The deeper they went into the dragon's nether ruins, the more dangerous the situation would become. Besides the mysterious shadow snake, there were many other insidious demon beasts hiding in the underground ruins. Moreover, their strength would become stronger and stronger, and their actions would become more and more insidious. As Kang Shinmu walked, he soon saw the corpses of 2 wandering dragon martial artists. It looked like they had been poisoned to death, but he didn't know what had killed them. Walking further ahead, there were 2 other wandering dragon martial artists. They were already surrounded by a group of shadow scorpions. They were drenched in cold sweat and trembling all over. There were 7 or 8 shadow scorpions in total, each as big as a lion or a tiger. Under the dim light of the surrounding ivy, their stingers flashed with a highly poisonous color. At first glance, it was obvious that they were extremely deadly existences. Something's not right today. Why are the shadow scorpions moving out in groups and appearing so close to the entrance? Could it be because of the snow fox? What should we do now? It won't be so easy to escape. The 2 wandering dragon martial artists conversed with each other. Originally, they didn't have any friendship with each other, but at this moment, they both had ideas about each other. If the other party could buy them some time, they should have a chance to escape. Right at this moment, they saw Jiang Shenwu who had caught up from behind. Their expressions immediately froze. Why isn't he dead? I clearly saw this kid get bitten by the mysterious shadow snake. I don't know, this kid is hiding some secret. The 2's faces were gloomy. After exchanging a glance, they rushed in the direction of Kang Shinmu. As soon as they moved, the surrounding 8 shadow scorpions moved at the same time. Moreover, their speed was extremely terrifying. In an instant, they appeared in front of Kang Shinmu, wanting to kill the 2 wandering dragon martial artists. As for the 2 wandering dragon martial artists, they didn't even dare to transform into dragons at this moment. If they did, their bodies would become bigger, and the shadow scorpions would catch up to them. They could only rush in the direction of Kang Shinmu as if they didn't care about their lives. Unfortunately, Jiang Shenwu sneered. Wind stirred up beneath his feet as he unleashed the void-shattering dragon shadow. In an instant, he retreated into the shadows. His speed was something these two wandering dragon martial artists couldn't match. In the next moment, the shadow scorpion caught up to them. Ah! Horrifying screams rang out. At this time, the two wandering dragon warriors finally chose to transform into dragons. However, the shadow scorpion was not an existence to be trifled with. Even in the face of the divine dragon's body that had transformed into dragons, it was still extremely agile. Its sharp stinger continued to stab, injecting venom into the divine dragon's body. The two divine dragons continued to struggle and resist in this awe-inspiring underground ruins. In the end, they still managed to kill the two shadow scorpions. One of them burned one to death with his fire talent, while the other froze the other to death with his ice talent. But then, under the influence of the poison, they became weaker and weaker. Gradually, they couldn't use the talent in their bodies. The two wandering dragon martial artists fell heavily to the ground, blood flowing out of their dragon bodies. You didn't save us. Kang Shinmu's figure appeared in the gradually dimming eyes of one of the wandering dragon martial artists. Do you have the right to say that? Kang Shinmu replied indifferently, when I was at the front and was targeted by the mysterious shadow snake, did you save me? Since you didn't save others, don't expect others to save you. After saying this, the wandering dragon martial artist finally stopped breathing. The other wandering dragon martial artist laughed bitterly, so what? Anyway, we're all going to die. There are only 5 shadow scorpions left. Do you think you can pass through this place alone? In his vicious eyes, the remaining 5 shadow scorpions didn't let Kang Shinmu go. They crawled towards Kang Shinmu from all directions. The shadow scorpions were very familiar with the underground ruins. Their speed in this area was extremely terrifying. Even Kang Shinmu, who had activated the breaking space dragon shadow, couldn't escape. However, Kang Shinmu never thought of escaping. These shadow scorpions were only at the 4th or 5th layer of the earth demon realm. He could definitely fight them with brute force. The 300-foot-long black dragon body instantly appeared from the underground ruins, knocking over a dilapidated wall. At the same time, Xiao Tian's dragon claw came crashing down, directly shattering the hard shell of one of the shadow scorpions. Then, the power of devouring surged and began to devour the power of this shadow scorpion. When the true dragon body appeared, the wandering dragon martial artist who hadn't died yet suddenly opened his eyes wide. He didn't expect this kid to be the inheritor of the true dragon blood essence. Chapter 3877. Kang Shinmu's black dragon body rushed out, roaring in the underground ruins, crushing the shadow scorpions one by one. Even though the black dragon's body was continuously pierced by the shadow scorpion's stinger and injected with poison, under the endless devouring power, the shadow scorpion's bones were all completely devoured by Jiang Shenwu, causing his divine dragon body to have a very strong resistance against the shadow scorpion's poison. These shadow scorpions at the earth demon level couldn't poison Kang Shinmu to death. Soon, these shadow scorpions were completely killed by Kang Shinmu. As for the bones of the wandering dragon warriors, they were useless to Kang Shinmu. Since he had swallowed the saliva of the demon dragon, Kang Shinmu didn't need to devour the bones of the ordinary dragon warriors, because it wouldn't improve him. Only the bones of the true dragon warriors were valuable to Kang Shinmu. He transformed into a human form and continued to move forward. In the Zhou dragon's ruins, the green vines glowed dimly. All kinds of shadowy creatures were moving around, but feeling the divine dragon aura on Kang Shinmu's body, they didn't dare to show their heads. At this moment, Kang Shinmu's body carried a strong devouring poisonous aura, which made the dark demon beasts in the Zhou dragon's ruins tremble in fear, running away from the place where Kang Shinmu went. Along the way, Jiang Shenwu continued to see the corpses of many wandering dragon warriors. However, he could see that not all wandering dragon warriors died here. There were still a few stronger wandering dragon warriors that had gone deeper into the ancient land. Kang Shinmu carefully felt the aura in the depths of the Zhou Dragon's ruins. His biggest goal in coming to the Zhou Dragon's ruins was to find the bones of the Zhou in the underground ruins. Of course, he might not be able to find the legendary existence, but it was good to explore. If he could devour it, it would be a great improvement for Kang Shinmu. As for the snow heavenly fox, it was just something that came along. I wonder where Ji Yeshuan is right now? As Kang Shinmu was thinking, he moved forward quickly in the Zhou Dragon's dark ruins. Soon, he went deep into the underground ruins. 2 more corpses of wandering dragon warriors appeared in front of him. It was obvious that the 2 wandering dragons had died from the same poison, which was even more potent than the mystic shadow snake and the dark shadow scorpion. Kang Shinmu raised his guard. After all, this meant that there were more powerful dark beasts around. Although the poisonous aura on his body was strong, which meant that he was a great threat, the dark demonic beasts in the dark ruins of Zhou Dragon were not necessarily afraid of him. As expected, as soon as Kang Shinmu passed by the 2 wandering dragon warriors, a dim light emerged from the faint light of the green vines. Then, several dark vines attacked towards Kang Shinmu. These dark-colored vines flashed with a faint green light and moved at a terrifying speed. In the blink of an eye, they had wrapped around Jiang Shenwu's body. Then, the sharp thorns on the green vines attempted to pierce through his skin and inject the poison into his body. Unfortunately, Kang Shinmu had cultivated the Iron Blood Dragon body martial skill, which had reached the Earth realm. It was not easy for these green vines to pierce Kang Shinmu's skin. This green vine tree monster is an earth demon of the 7th layer. If I don't transform into a dragon, I won't be able to defeat it. Jiang Shenwu's heart skipped a beat. In the next moment, he once again transformed into the body of a black ordinary dragon. The deterrence of a real dragon turned into a majestic aura and crashed down, shrouding the green vine tree demons that were all over the place. Immediately after, the dragon claw turned into the sharpest blade and cut off several green vines that were emitting a dim light. The pitch-black devouring power began to pour into the broken vines. Then, it swallowed all the juice within the vines into the black dragon's body. The toxic juice of the vines turned into the purest form of toxic energy that was absorbed by the black dragon. Instead, it made the black dragon develop a body that was resistant to toxic energy. However, when Kang Shinmu turned into a black dragon, the entire body of the green vine tree monster was revealed. This earth demon of the 7th layer was not just made of a few glowing green vines. When it was completely revealed, a terrifying web of green vines wrapped around the black dragon's body. The black dragon's body was more than 300 feet long, but this green vine tree monster was even larger. Its huge body was like a huge web, shrinking from the outside to the inside, trying to trap the black dragon within. Shao Tian Dragon Claw. Jiang Shenwu used the Roaring Sky Dragon Claw's dragon martial skill. Unfortunately, this dragon martial skill was only at the human level. Its power was not tyrannical enough, and it was unable to break through the entire net of vines. It could only create some cracks on a few of the vines, allowing the devouring power to enter. Countless green vines and sharp thorns gradually pierced through the surface of the black dragon's body. Even the earth-level Iron Blood Dragon's body couldn't completely resist the green vine tree demon at the 7th heaven of the earth demon realm, and huge holes were pierced through it. Divine dragon essence blood seeped out from these holes. However, the devouring power penetrated deeper into the green vine tree monster, rapidly devouring its strength and replenishing the divine dragon's essence blood. It was the same situation as before. As long as this earth demon could not kill Kang Shinmu in one go, then Kang Shinmu would be invincible. As the devouring power erupted, Kang Shinmu would gradually turn defeat into victory and become the final winner of this tug-of-war. The divine dragon essence blood dripped on the barren ground of the underground ruins. The physical strength of the green vine tree monster also became weaker and weaker as the devouring power eroded it. Obviously, this green vine tree monster had realized that it was not the right choice to make Kang Shinmu its prey. Unfortunately, it had no way out now. Kang Shinmu had already clenched the web of green vines tightly with his dragon claws. It was impossible for the green vine tree monster to retreat. In the end, it could only be devoured by Kang Shinmu and turned into withered leaves. After devouring, Kang Shinmu had replenished the power of the green vine tree monster into his body. Not only did he not lose any strength, but he also strengthened his resistance to poison. Now, Kang Shinmu's black dragon body was almost completely poisonous. Even some weaker wandering dragon warriors would be poisoned to death if they swallowed his divine dragon essence blood. But for Kang Shinmu, these poisons had no effect on him. Devouring power, what kind of existence are you? He thought of the black dragon's consciousness. Could it really devour the sky? Then let's find the corpse of this dead dragon warrior and devour it. Jiang Shenwu's eyes sparkled with a sharp light. He transformed back into his human form, leaving behind the withered and yellowish ivy tree demon's remains, and continued venturing deeper into the Zhou dragon's dark ruin. That kind of awe-inspiring aura seemed to be hovering around him, making him feel the sign of a powerful existence. Chapter 3878. The Zhou dragon ruins was vast and awe-inspiring. In the underground ruins, Kang Shinmu continued to move forward. After killing an ivy tree demon, the poisonous aura on his body became even stronger, and even some stronger earth demons were hesitant to attack him. Although Kang Shinmu seemed to be only at the third layer of the dragon ascension realm, but many times, the strength of a dragon martial artist could not be accurately spied on from the cultivation base. Jiang Shenwu's body carried a poisonous aura, which meant that he had just killed a powerful earth demon. This caused the other earth demons to carefully consider whether it was necessary to take the risk for such a prey before they made their move. The Zhou dragon ruins was rarely visited by humans, but for these earth demons, dragon martial artists were not unreachable food. For these dark earth demons, living in this underground ruins for a long time, although they could not come into contact with too many dragon martial artists, but even if they devoured each other, it was enough for them to survive, and they did not necessarily need to eat dragon martial artists. Therefore, in the case of risk, these earth demons would not attack Kang Shinmu for the sake of insurance. Soon, Kang Shinmu went 10 miles into the underground ruins. At this place, if he went any deeper, he would encounter real terrifying danger, and might even encounter some sky demon-level demon beasts. Until now, Kang Shinmu had not seen even the slightest trace of a snow heavenly fox, which made him somewhat puzzled. Was that snow heavenly fox really brought to the Zhou dragon dark ruins? Just as he was thinking about this, he suddenly felt a burst of cold air coming from not far away, causing his heart to shiver. He hurriedly ran in the direction of the cold air. With the help of the green vine's dim light, he really saw a wisp of snow-white color sweeping across the underground ruins. Is that a snow heavenly fox? Jiang Shenwu's heart stirred and he hurriedly followed. He had seen a snow heavenly fox before, but this time the dim light of the ivy was too dim, and there was some dense miasma in the depths of the Zhou dragon ruins, obscuring his vision, so he could not see clearly whether it was a snow heavenly fox or not. As he chased after them, he activated the message dragon talisman he had obtained earlier. From the communication talisman, an invisible force flew out of the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. At the same time, the communication talisman in Kang Shinmu's hands was completely scrapped. Then, he continued to chase forward, and could still occasionally see the small snow-white figure. If that's the snow heavenly fox, it doesn't seem to have been kidnapped by anyone. Kang Shinmu found it a little strange. If it wasn't kidnapped, why wouldn't it listen to Ji Yeshuan's orders? After all, Ji Yeshuan could control the power of beasts. This was the talent that she had obtained from the divine dragon's inheritance blood essence. Theoretically, there shouldn't be any beasts that disobeyed her orders. For example, the 2 silver-feathered birds were completely obedient to her. However, when he thought about the first time he saw Ji Yeshuan, the snow heavenly fox was running around in the forest. It seemed that this snow heavenly fox was indeed a little strange. Kang Shinmu didn't think too much about it. He transformed into the form of a black dragon and used the void-piercing dragon shadow dragon martial skill, heading deeper into the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. It seemed that because he was following the snow heavenly fox, those powerful earth demons along the way didn't have any intention of attacking Kang Shinmu. Even Kang Shinmu could feel that the small snow-white figure in front of him was an extremely tyrannical existence. After chasing for a while, he could confirm that it was the snow heavenly fox, but it was a little difficult to keep up with it. Even if he used the void-piercing dragon shadow, his speed was far inferior to the snow heavenly fox. Fortunately, the snow heavenly fox seemed to be looking for something in the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. It walked and stopped, so that Kang Shinmu could slowly catch up and not completely lose it. Not long after, he felt a powerful existence behind him, flying over at an extremely fast speed. It's the Nirvana Tribulation Realm Cyan Masked Man. Before Kang Shinmu could react, a whirlwind whistled past him. It was the middle-aged man in the Nirvana Tribulation Realm, and he directly chased after the snow heavenly fox. So fast. Kang Shinmu was shocked by his speed. Even though this guy was only in human form, his speed was still several times faster than the current Kang Shinmu. Moreover, this guy should have flown all the way from outside the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. It could be seen that his speed was truly unimaginable to the current Kang Shinmu. However, as if it had noticed the man's arrival, the snow-white snow heavenly fox disappeared in an instant. At the same time, several pitch-black streams of light swept out from the depths of the Zhou dragon's dark ruins and rushed towards the man. These pitch-black streams of light carried the aura of some kind of divine dragon's blood essence. Moreover, they contained an extremely sinister flow, causing the middle-aged man in the Nirvana Tribulation Realm to pause for a moment. After that, the trace of the snow heavenly fox completely disappeared before their eyes. Bastard! The middle-aged man in the Nirvana Tribulation Realm cursed in his heart. He raised his hand, and a terrifying power exploded out, completely blasting away the pitch-black streams of light. "Uncle Ya, can't you catch up?" A cold voice came from the other side. It was the petite young girl, Ji Yishuan, who walked over from the side. Whether it was Ji Yishuan or the Uncle Ya she spoke of, both of them carried an extremely tyrannical aura, causing the nearby demon beasts to not dare to approach them. Unfortunately, as strong as they were, they had no way to catch up to the snow heavenly fox. It ran away. It should have borrowed the power from the depths of the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. "Let's continue chasing," the Nirvana Tribulation Realm Uncle Yef said in a low voice. At this moment, he turned his head, and the eyes under the mask looked at Kang Shinmu. "As expected, I think highly of this kid. Only he can come here and find the trace of the snow heavenly fox. The others are of no use at all." "You can't say that." Ji Yishuan smiled faintly. If it wasn't for the fact that there were a lot of people who came in, the snow heavenly fox might have been hiding in a corner instead of continuing to run deeper. "Let's catch up." The young girl took a step forward. Uncle Yef said to Kang Shinmu, "Go now. What's ahead is not something you can participate in. After you leave, we will give you 100,000 dragon coins according to the agreement." "I'll go with you." Kang Shinmu shook his head, and casually came up with an excuse. "The snow heavenly fox doesn't seem to reject me. At the crucial moment, I might be of some use." "You're courting death." Ji Yishuan sneered, and ignored him. Her figure flashed, and disappeared into the darkness ahead. Uncle Ye didn't say anything, and just nodded, and took another step forward. Kang Shinmu followed. What he really wanted was the dragon warrior's skeleton in the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. Chapter 3879. Uncle Ye and Ji Yishuan were both very fast. However, because they were flying in the front, they had to defend against the dark cold currents that were constantly rolling out from the depths of the Zhou dragon's dark ruins. Therefore, Jiang Shenwu had to catch up slowly. Kang Shinmu was flying behind them, so he wouldn't be attacked by the dark cold currents. However, he had a feeling that even if he touched the dark cold currents, he wouldn't be hurt. Because of the devouring power, the dark cold currents would be easily devoured. The dark cold currents came from the depths of the Zhou Dragon's dark ruins. Just when Uncle Ye was about to catch up with the Shui Tianhu, they came out. It was very strange. This was quite a hindrance to Uncle Ye and Ji Yeshuan. However, they were strong after all, so they were still able to move forward swiftly. It wasn't long before Shui Tianhu's figure appeared in front of them once more. This time, the three of them saw that the Shui Tianhu seemed to be holding something in its mouth. It was moving towards the depths of the Zhou Dragon's dark ruins. As for what it was, they couldn't see it clearly with the cyan light in the ruins. The key was that the dark cold currents were constantly blocking their vision. The whole situation was very chaotic. They could only wait until they caught up with it. In the area where the dark cold currents were bursting, even the demonic beasts had disappeared. No demonic beast could survive in such an environment. In the Zhou Dragon's dark ruins, the strongest demonic beasts were the rare sky demons in the previous area. Because he was following Uncle Ye, Kang Xinmu didn't encounter those sky demons. It was even more impossible for him to meet them now. These dark and cold currents seemed to have something to do with the powerful dragon martial artist who died here. Only someone at the divine martial realm can resist them. Even that genius girl, Ji Yeshuan, would find it difficult to resist them. Kang Xinmu could see that Ji Yeshuan had turned into a snow-white divine dragon. Her body was more than 100 feet long. She was a genuine dragon warrior of the sky dragon inheritance. Her strength was naturally not to be doubted. But even so, the dark and cold currents that continuously invaded the body of the snow-white divine dragon caused some wounds to continuously appear on its body. Although these wounds quickly recovered, it still meant that Ji Yeshuan would be injured in such an environment. Kang Xinmu followed closely behind her. He didn't try to resist the dark cold currents. Anyway, it was not necessary. Uncle Ye ran in front in human form. He kept activating the Nirvana tribulation power in his body to defeat the dark cold currents, which saved Kang Xinmu a lot of trouble. As the three went deeper and deeper into the Zhou Dragon's dark ruins, the surrounding temperature became lower and lower. Even the broken walls in the ruins were covered with some dark, transparent ice crystals. The existence of these ice crystals meant that there was a terrible cold qi in the Zhou Dragon's dark ruins. Moreover, in this cold qi, there was some kind of awe-inspiring power. This power should be the remnant of the dead powerful dragon warrior. It could be inferred that the powerful dragon warrior named Zhou was probably not weaker than the dragon king of the imprisoned dragon domain. The existence that imprisoned the dragon king might even be stronger than him. It was really sad that he died in this corner for hundreds of years. The divine dragon blood that a dragon warrior could get from the flame dragon's sacrifice could at most reach the level of the sky dragon. Beyond that, it would be the divine dragon blood, which needed to be personally awakened by the dragon emperor of the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. As for the dragon king, he was the king of the divine dragon, ruling a territory. The Jiang tribe and the Ji tribe belonged to the imprisoned dragon domain, under the command of the dragon king. If this dragon warrior, Zhou, was a dragon warrior at the level of the dragon king, then if I devour his bones, to what extent can my divine dragon blood improve? Kang Xinmu thought to himself, but he still shook his head. No matter what, he felt that the level of the demon dragon saliva was very high. After devouring it, the improvement he could get was even greater than the bones of a dragon warrior at the level of the dragon king. In other words, even if Kang Xinmu devoured the bones of the dragon warrior, Zhou, he would not be able to improve to the level of the sky dragon's inheritance. Of course, he did not think it would be so fast. The most important thing for him now was to complete the dragon ascending 9 transformations and improve his cultivation. After helping Ji Yeshuan track down the tracks of the snow fox, the dragon coins he got should be able to buy some elixirs to improve his cultivation. This was very important to Kang Xinmu. It's an abyss. Soon, the three of them chased in the direction that the snow fox escaped and came to an extremely magnificent abyss. The dark cold current that was constantly sweeping out came from this abyss. It could be seen that there must be something special at the bottom of the abyss. The snow sky fox came here and directly jumped down into the abyss. The snow fox was naturally agile. Moreover, this snow fox's cultivation was very high, at least at the level of a sky demon. Otherwise, it would not have been able to escape Ji Yeshuan's control and come to this place. The snow fox nimbly jumped down the cliff, leaving Uncle Ye and Ji Yeshuan to stand at the edge of the cliff, their expressions uncertain. Should we go down? At this moment, Ji Yeshuan was also a little uncertain. She had transformed into a snow-white divine dragon and had already used the power of the divine dragon's blood essence to form a layer of barrier around her dragon body. Otherwise, the dark, cold currents that kept surging out would probably hurt her quite a bit. I'll go down. You guys wait here. Uncle Ye shook his head. The green mask he wore looked extremely strange in the dark light. In the next moment, he raised his hand, and the innate talent in his body, the modest wind energy, condensed into a hurricane barrier that protected Ji Yeshuan and Jiang Shenwu. After that, he leaped down the cliff. Then, there was no more news. The dark cold currents kept surging out from the abyss and bombarded the hurricane barrier left by Uncle Ye. No matter how hard they tried, they could not break through. Instead, it kept Kang Shinmu in a safe state. This is too outrageous. The young girl said coldly. Kang Shinmu could tell that she was not targeting him. Instead, she seemed to be talking about the snow fox. He did not know what the snow fox had done. There was something in the snow fox's mouth. Could it be the thing that Ji Yeshuan said was too outrageous? No matter what, Kang Shinmu could only wait where he was, waiting for news from Uncle Ye. However, before he and Ji Yeshuan could receive any news from Uncle Ye, they suddenly heard the deep roar of a divine dragon coming from the abyss in front of them. After this roar, an extremely violent dark and cold current rushed up from the bottom of the cliff. Chapter 3880. The dragon's roar seemed to come from the depths of hell, and it was mixed with an unparalleled aura. It brought along a violent dark cold current. Even the hurricane barrier left behind by Uncle Ye was shattered by the dark cold current in an instant. The terrifying divine dragon's deterrence swept over from the bottom of the cliff. It was like a surging wave or a rolling dark cloud. Under this deterrence, Ji Yeshuan couldn't bear it and fainted on the edge of the cliff. Kang Shinmu was shocked when he saw this. Even Ji Yeshuan fainted from such an aura. How could he still be fine? When he came back to his senses, he found that there was a layer of devouring power protecting him. Not only did it continuously devour the dark cold current, it also blocked the divine dragon's deterrence outside. The devouring power is actually so powerful? Kang Shinmu's heart shook slightly. He carefully sensed and found that the divine dragon's deterrence was completely blocked and didn't affect him in the slightest. The genius girl, Ji Yeshuan, was caught off guard and fainted from the divine dragon's deterrence. This surprised Kang Shinmu. I wonder how Uncle Ye is. Kang Shinmu thought that since the divine dragon's deterrence and the dark cold current had no effect on him, then there was no need for him to wait on the cliff. It was better to go down and take a look. After all, his main purpose in coming to the Zhou dragon's ruins was to find the corpse of the dragon warrior, Zhou. The cliff wasn't particularly steep. With Kang Shinmu's strength, he could easily jump down bit by bit. Before long, he arrived at the bottom of the cliff. He found that this place was a burial ground. Countless corpses of demonic beasts had been buried here for an unknown period of time. The bottom of the cliff was a cemetery for demonic beasts. This was a deep pit filled with the bones of demonic beasts. When Kang Shinmu came down, he was shocked to find that even the Nirvana Tribulation Realm Uncle Ye, who was wearing a green mask, had fainted in the deep pit under the mysterious and awe-inspiring might of the divine dragon. As for the snow heavenly fox, it seemed to be holding a spiritual herb in its mouth. At this moment, it had also fallen into the deep pit, unconscious. He actually fainted. Is that divine dragon's might really that strong? Kang Shinmu felt a little strange, but he was protected by the devouring power, so he naturally couldn't feel it. Apart from the devouring power, the divine dragon's power seemed to be restrained by the divine dragon's essence and blood in his body. When it came into contact with him, it was completely blocked, unable to affect him in the slightest. No matter what, let's get the spirit herb first. Kang Shinmu had nothing to be embarrassed about. Everyone had fainted anyway, so no one would know what he was doing in the field. The spiritual herb in the snow heavenly fox's mouth should be the culprit of this incident. However, Kang Shinmu didn't know what exactly was going on. However, before he could pick up the stalk of spiritual herb, the ground he was standing on began to shake violently. As far as his eyes could see, the entire pit was filled with the bones of demonic beasts, and in the middle of this huge pile of demonic beast bones, the shadow of a divine dragon had actually appeared. This is the dragon's soul of a dragon warrior. Seeing this, Kang Shinmu's heart suddenly jumped. The dragon soul of a dragon warrior was a very rare thing. Only after the death of a dragon warrior above the sky dragon realm would there be a remnant of the dragon soul. The higher the level of the divine dragon's essence and blood, the longer the remnant of the dragon's soul. According to the legend of the Zhou dragon ruins, this dragon's soul had existed for at least 300 years. As expected, it's at least the level of a divine dragon or above. Kang Shinmu gritted his teeth. When the dragon's soul's shadow appeared, even he felt a strong pressure and kept retreating under the pressure. Gradually, the dragon's soul's shadow became more and more complete. It was a terrifying existence with a body of more than 300 feet. The dragon's head was like an azura, and the pair of eyes of the dragon's soul were like the eyes of hell, flickering with a cold light. The dragon's soul was formed by the divine dragon's essence and blood after the death of a dragon warrior. It had a part of the obsession of the dragon warrior before death. At this moment, Kang Shinmu could clearly feel the killing intent of the dragon's soul. This killing intent was aimed at all the existences that intruded into the demonic beast cemetery. Even an expert like Uncle Ye can't survive under such a dragon soul's attack. Jiang Shenwu clenched his teeth. At this time, he discovered that there were still many divine dragon skeletons in this demonic beast cemetery. These divine dragon skeletons even had heavenly dragon ranks. From the looks of it, many dragon martialists who came here to explore had died. However, for some reason, Kang Shinmu wasn't too afraid of the dragon soul. The black dragon's essence and blood flowing in his body seemed to be boiling at this moment. The devouring power condensed all over his body and formed a devouring net that swept towards the dragon's soul. It was a counterattack. The devouring power was not under Kang Shinmu's control. It suddenly counterattacked the giant dragon soul, which was beyond Kang Shinmu's expectations. Did the black dragon's essence and blood attack again? However, no sound rang out in Kang Shinmu's mind. The only time Kang Shinmu had heard the voice of the black dragon was when he encountered the demon dragon's saliva. The voice didn't appear now. Could it be that the dragon's soul in front of him was not of a high enough level for it to appear? In any case, Kang Shinmu didn't have to do it himself. He watched as the devouring power formed a giant devouring net and shrouded the dragon's soul. At the point of contact between the two sides, bursts of black smoke were emitted continuously. The awe-inspiring dragon's soul was actually corroded by the devouring power. After the death of the dragon warrior named Zhou, the dragon's soul had an extremely fierce temperament. Just by looking at the many demonic beast bones and dragon warrior bones in the deep pit, it could be seen. However, in the face of the devouring power, it was like a little lamb that had encountered an old wolf. It had no power to resist and could only be constantly eroded by the devouring power. The terrifying Zhou dragon's soul kept struggling and roaring. The dragon's roar even spread out of the Zhou dragon's dark ruins and spread in all directions. The roar was filled with pain and despair. Some of the nearby wandering dragon warriors were terrified when they heard it. One by one, they fled to the nearby cities and didn't dare to stay outside. It can really devour the dragon's soul. I wonder where the Zhou dragon's bones are. Will they be in this deep pit? Kang Shinmu thought to himself, but he couldn't be sure. Seeing the dragon's soul being eroded by the devouring power, his thoughts shifted to other things. He quickly ran to the side of the unconscious Xue Tianhu and took out the spirit herb from her mouth. Chapter 3881. So it's the Qi Tian spiritual grass. After Kang Xinmu took the spiritual grass, he ignored the dragon's soul that was being eroded by the devouring power. Instead, he paid attention to the spiritual grass. Simply put, the Qi Tian spiritual grass was a high-grade spiritual grass used to refine elixirs. It was extremely valuable. However, it was more difficult to refine elixirs. Moreover, other spiritual grasses were required as supplementary materials. Hence, Kang Xinmu didn't need to refine elixirs. The best way to deal with it was to consume it himself. Although part of the medicinal properties would be lost if it wasn't refined into elixirs, Kang Xinmu didn't need to worry about the loss of medicinal properties. After all, the Qi Tian spiritual grass was enough for him to reach the 4th tier of the Dragon Ascending Realm. From the 4th tier onwards, the Dragon Ascending Realm was different from the previous 3 tiers. The 9 tiers of the Dragon Ascending Realm were also known as the 9 changes of the Dragon Ascending Realm. The first 3 tiers were still okay. However, the 4th tier would change a lot. However, the appearance of the divine dragon body would change a lot. As for the strength, it would increase even more. The specific changes would be different for every dragon martialist and every type of divine dragon blood essence. Kang Xinmu had never seen the black dragon blood essence that had the devouring power. Hence, he didn't know what kind of changes it would bring. However, no matter what, he had to consume the Qi Tian spiritual grass immediately. Otherwise, when Uncle Ye and Ji Yeshuan woke up, he wouldn't have a share of the Qi Tian spiritual grass. If the value of the Qi Tian spiritual grass was measured in dragon coins, it would be worth at least 1 million. No wonder they were willing to use 100,000 dragon coins to hire a wandering dragon warrior to track the Snow Sky Fox. Could it be that the Snow Sky Fox wants to consume the Qi Tian spiritual grass herself? Kang Xinmu wasn't sure if his guess was true. However, the Qi Tian spiritual grass was already in his hands. He could feel that as long as the soul of the dragon of Zhou was not completely devoured, the deterrence of the godly dragon would always be there. In other words, it would frighten Uncle Ye, Ji Yeshuan, and the Snow Fox into a coma. This created the conditions for Kang Xinmu to consume the Qi Tian spiritual grass. As for the soul of the dragon of Zhou, it would continue to exist for a short period of time. At the very least, with Kang Xinmu's current strength, he would not be able to quickly devour it. The devouring power seems to have an innate ability to restrain dragon souls. Just what kind of existence is this black dragon essence blood? Kang Xinmu shook his head and didn't think too much about it. The answer to this question could only be found when he reached an extremely powerful level. As for now, he was still in the Dragon Ascension realm. If he wanted to improve, the Qi Tian spiritual grass was a very good opportunity. It could at least save him 3 to 4 months of hard work. If he had enough spiritual grass and elixir pills, then the improvement of his cultivation would be much faster. It was a pity that the Qi Tian spiritual grass was something that even Ji Yeshuan regarded as a treasure. She was so anxious to hire a wandering dragon martial artist to chase after it. How could a mere Kang Xinmu have the means to obtain a large amount of it? Let's just swallow it first. Kang Xinmu gritted his teeth and swallowed the Qi Tian spiritual grass. He instantly chewed it and a sweet spiritual liquid flowed down his throat. The rich spiritual energy was continuously absorbed by him. Under the wrapping of the devouring power, it turned into the purest energy in his essence blood. If Ji Yeshuan were to find out that he had swallowed the Qi Tian spiritual grass, she would probably be so angry that she would kill him. It was a pity that Kang Xinmu had no other way to deal with this thing now. After swallowing it, it was a good thing that he had consumed it. If he didn't, when Uncle Ye and Ji Yeshuan woke up, he wouldn't be able to get anything. A large amount of spiritual energy flowed continuously to Kang Shinmu's entire body and integrated into his essence blood. Moreover, due to the devouring power, the spiritual energy quickly turned into his strength and increased his cultivation. Great! Not long after, Kang Shinmu's eyes shone brightly. His entire temperament suddenly changed and he suddenly turned into a black dragon. A pair of divine dragon eyes shot out boundless golden light, illuminating the entire pitch-black pit. At this very moment, half of the dragon of Zhou's soul had been devoured by Kang Shinmu. The devouring power continued to transfer the power of the dragon of Zhou's divine dragon essence blood to Kang Shinmu, gradually increasing the grade of the black dragon essence blood. As expected, it started to move from the real dragon level to the sky dragon level. However, even after devouring the dragon of Zhou's soul, which was at least at the level of the Dragon King, the grade of Kang Shinmu's divine dragon essence blood wasn't increasing quickly. After all, the dragon of Zhou's soul had been left for a long time and most of the divine dragon's power essence had already dissipated. If it was a dragon of Zhou's soul that had just died, to be honest, Kang Shinmu didn't have the confidence to devour it. After all, his current cultivation was too weak. The vast amount of spiritual energy from the Qi Tian spiritual grass was constantly transforming the bloodline in his body. The divine dragon essence blood was also rapidly increasing under the nourishment of the dragon of Zhou's soul. At this very moment, Kang Shinmu was ushering in an extremely important transformation. Dragon Ascension Realm, 4th Tier. Kang Shinmu's black dragon form released boundless golden light from his eyes. At this moment, it flashed and disappeared. Instead, it was restrained after the breakthrough. The 4th tier of the Dragon Ascension realm allowed him to cultivate the golden light eyes. As for what effect it had, he didn't know at the moment. However, it could be said that it was a relatively large change after his cultivation increased. As for the grade of the divine dragon essence blood, after devouring a large portion of the dragon of Zhou's soul, it increased by a lot. In order to advance from a true dragon to a sky dragon, the number of divine dragon corpses or dragon souls that one needed to devour was far too many. Even if it was the dragon soul of Zhou, after being devoured, Jiang Shenwu's progress had only increased by about 1/10. Wanting to truly transform into a sky dragon martial artist with the inheritance of sky dragon blood essence was far too difficult. Kang Shinmu didn't have much time left. He had to quickly advance and find his father Jiang Zizai, the former Jiang Longjun. Then, he had to go to the Jiang clan to establish himself in the Jiang clan and seize the position of patriarch of the Jiang clan. If Jiang Rong didn't set his sights on him, Kang Shinmu couldn't be bothered with who would be the patriarch and who would be the Jiang Longjun. But now, he had to do this to ensure the safety of his mother, Guyuero. 5th tier of the Dragon Ascension realm. The spiritual energy contained in the qi of the Qi Tian spiritual grass was really shocking. After Kang Shinmu absorbed the spiritual energy, even if he only absorbed 70% of it and wasted the rest, he could still use it to increase his cultivation by 2 tiers. Dragon Ascension 9 Transformations, 5th Transformation. During the first 3 tiers, Kang Shinmu's change wasn't very obvious. But now, every time he increased his cultivation by 1 tier, his strength would increase by a lot. The dragon claws of his black dragon form stretched out in an instant. There was an even stronger devouring power attached to them. The sharpness of the claws had actually more than doubled. Chapter 3882. Kang Shinmu had entered the 5th tier of the Dragon Ascension realm and absorbed the soul of the Dragon of Zhou. His overall strength had increased tremendously. Compared to when he first entered the Dragon's ruins, Kang Shinmu's strength had at least doubled. As expected of the Qi Tian spiritual grass. Even a genius like Ji Yeshuan is chasing after it. It's really extraordinary. Kang Shinmu thought to himself. The next thing would be more troublesome. Obviously, Uncle Ye and Ji Yeshuan's target was the Qi Tian spiritual grass other than the snow sky fox. Now that he had swallowed the Qi Tian spiritual grass, he had to make plans early. Before the 3 of them woke up, he had to deal with the rest. All in all, Kang Shinmu couldn't appear in front of them anymore. After all, under the pressure of the Dragon of Zhou, even Uncle Ye had fainted. If Kang Shinmu hadn't appeared, he might have been swallowed by the Dragon of Zhou. Therefore, in the eyes of Uncle Ye and Ji Yeshuan, it was impossible for a wandering dragon warrior like him to survive. Continue swallowing. Kang Shinmu observed the Dragon of Zhou and realized that he had already swallowed 2/3 of the Dragon of Zhou. The divine dragon's pressure was gradually weakening. He knew that he didn't have much time left and had to make preparations quickly. The essence of the Dragon of Zhou's soul continued to flow into his body and fuse into his divine dragon blood essence. But he continued to climb up the cliff, bringing with him the skeleton of a true dragon's martial artist who had inherited the true dragon's legacy. In the deep pit, there were too many corpses like this. Jiang Shenwu picked one of the corpses and threw it to the top of the cliff, placing it beside the unconscious girl, Ji Yeshuan. Whether it was Ji Yeshuan, Uncle Ye, or the Snow Sky Fox, they were all at least in the divine martial realm. Kang Shinmu couldn't kill all of them now. Even if they couldn't resist, Kang Shinmu couldn't kill Uncle Ye. Since there would definitely be survivors, there was no need to kill any of them. He just had to pretend that he was dead. Kang Shinmu carefully handled everything. After devouring the soul of the Dragon of Zhou, he directly left the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins. When he came out, because he had just devoured the power of the Dragon of Zhou's soul, the dragon might on his body was extremely terrifying. Even heaven demons were afraid of him at this moment and did not dare to attack him. However, as time passed, the aura of the Dragon of Zhou's soul grew weaker and weaker. This was because the Dragon of Zhou's soul was gradually digested by Kang Shinmu and turned into nutrients for his divine dragon blood essence. Fortunately, when the aura of the Dragon of Zhou's soul completely dissipated, he had already left the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins, and did not head in the direction of the desolate dragon city. He changed his direction and headed towards the territory ruled by another tribe. At the same time, when he passed by a village, he quietly changed his clothes and cut his hair short. He even made a scar on his face. Changing his appearance was something that had to be done. At least for the time being, he could not appear anywhere with his original identity. Otherwise, it was very likely that he would attract the attention of Ji Yeshuan and the Ji tribe. After all, the Ji tribe was very powerful and their overall strength was stronger than the Jiang tribe. If the corpse that he prepared next to Ji Yeshuan could not fool her, then after changing his appearance, it would not be easy for her to find him. Just after Kang Shinmu left the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins, Uncle Ye, who had the highest cultivation, was the first to wake up in the deep pit. The first thing he noticed was himself. He realized that he did not suffer any attacks and his body was completely unharmed. Speaking of which, although Kang Shinmu had consumed their Qi Tian spiritual grass, he had indirectly saved his life. However, this was something that Uncle Ye would never know. He was just curious. He was clearly knocked out by the divine dragon's deterrence. Why didn't he feel any aura after waking up? Then, he saw the snow celestial fox that was very close to him. The snow celestial fox's strength was weaker, so it did not wake up so quickly. However, the Qi Tian spiritual grass in its mouth had disappeared, which made Uncle Ye frown slightly. If the Qi Tian spiritual grass was gone, wouldn't their trip be in vain? Although they had found the snow celestial fox, the Qi Tian spiritual grass was the reason why the snow celestial fox ran away. As for the specific reason, the snow celestial fox actually wanted to devour the Qi Tian spiritual grass, so it stole the Qi Tian spiritual grass from Ji Yeshuan and escaped to the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins. Although Ji Yeshuan could not completely control the snow celestial fox, with the talent of beasts, she could sense that the snow celestial fox had escaped to the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins. However, she could not sense the specific location in the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins because the interference of the aura of the Dragon of Zhou's soul in the Dragon of Zhou's nether ruins was too strong. What is going on? Uncle Ye still did not understand the overall situation. He carried the snow celestial fox with one hand and carefully checked the entire deep pit. He did not find anything suspicious, so he turned around and jumped up the cliff. After jumping up, he heaved a sigh of relief because he realized that nothing had happened to Ji Yishuan. She was only temporarily unconscious. As long as Ji Yishuan was fine, however, when Uncle Ye saw the bones of the real dragon beside the girl, he subconsciously frowned. Did this brat die here? That made sense. Although this brat was a dragon warrior with the inheritance of the real dragon, his cultivation was too weak. Even if he had some means to follow them here, under the previous situation, even he and Ji Yishuan were knocked out. It was normal that this brat could not withstand it. However, why did this brat turn into bones right after he died? Did something devour the body of the divine dragon? This did not make sense. Uncle Ye shook his head. His face under the green mask did not show much emotion. To him, no matter how strange this brat was, he was just a wandering dragon warrior. Although he found it strange that this brat's body was only left with bones, the Qi Tian spiritual grass was definitely not related to this brat. After all, even he was shocked by the power of the divine dragon. It was a pity that he did not know what happened after he was knocked out. Looking at the many bones of the divine dragon and demonic beasts in the deep pit, what killed them all? Could it be the remnant dragon soul of the legendary dragon warrior, Zhou? If that was the case, why did the dragon soul not kill him and Ji Yishuan? There were still doubts in everything. However, it was good that Ji Yishuan was fine. The snow celestial fox was also found. Although the Qi Tian spiritual grass was gone, it was not a big loss overall. However, Miss would probably be very angry now, right? Chapter 3883. Dragon Prison Domain, Dragon Prison City. After Kang Xinmu left the vicinity of desolate Dragon City, he headed directly towards Dragon Prison City. After 7 days, he finally arrived at this extremely magnificent city. Dragon Prison City was one of the regions of the Yen Dragon Emperor's court. Both the Jiang tribe and the Ji tribe were part of Dragon Prison City. And in the entire Dragon Prison City, there were more than 10 tribal territories like the Ji tribe. Kang Xinmu had to take the main road to reach Dragon Prison City safely. Dragon Prison City was the main city of Dragon Prison City. In Dragon Prison City, lived the Dragon King of the Dragon Prison City. He would not easily appear in front of the world, but once he did, earth-shattering events would occur. For example, the last time the Dragon King of the Dragon Prison City appeared, it was when a clan in the Dragon Prison City attempted to leave the Dragon Prison City and merge with another dragon prison. In a fit of rage, the enslaved Dragon King slaughtered everyone from the patriarch to the elders of that clan, leaving not a single one alive. From then on, no clan attempted to leave the enslaved dragon domain. Even an existence like Kang Xinmu's father, Jiang Longjun, was nothing in front of the Dragon King. One could imagine how terrifying and tyrannical his strength was. Of course, this was also because Jiang Zizai had been missing for 10 years. If Jiang Zizai had continued to cultivate during these 10 years, he might not be inferior to the prisoner Dragon King. However, this could only be said to be a pity. After all, Jiang Zizai had been missing for 10 years, and no one knew where he was now. The reason why he chose to come to Dragon Prison City was because Kang Xinmu knew that it was a holy land for dragon warriors. Whether it was the Jiang clan or the Ji clan, the geniuses or ordinary dragon warriors of these clans would come to Dragon Prison City to train. They would spar with other dragon warriors to improve their strength. The competition here was fierce, but there were also endless opportunities. Clans like the Jiang tribe or the Ji tribe had their own inherited dragon martial techniques. But in Dragon Prison City, there were many more dragon martial techniques to choose from. As long as a dragon martial artist had the corresponding talent and strength, they would be able to create endless possibilities in Dragon Prison City. At the very least, Dragon Prison City would not be as chaotic as desolate Dragon City, where even the trading of Yao cores would have to be hidden for fear of being discovered. To put it bluntly, although Kang Xinmu had quite a lot of beast cores on him, which were worth at least several thousand dragon coins, there really wasn't anyone in Dragon Prison City who would care about this bit of wealth. That was because there were just too many experts in Dragon Prison City. Standing in front of Dragon Prison City, Kang Shinmu realized how vast this world was and how magnificent this city was. In the past, the Jiang clan's royal palace was located in the Dragon City of the Great Jiang. It was located in the middle of the mountain range. It was a grand place with tens of thousands of dragon warriors flying in the sky. It was an impressive sight. However, after coming to Dragon Prison City, Great River Dragon City paled in comparison. This was a vast city that was at least 100 times larger than the Great River Dragon City. Moreover, the number of dragon warriors gathered here ranged from ordinary dragons to true dragons to heavenly dragons. There were countless of them. Even existences of the sacred dragon level would appear here. The entire Dragon Prison City was filled with mighty dragon might. One could feel the gathered aura of the divine dragon from 1,000 miles away. It made countless demonic beasts retreat and intimidated the evil spirits. The might of the Dragon King was like a golden light sprinkling on the earth. Everything appeared transcendent. Dragon Prison City, I've finally arrived. Kang Shinmu's chest was filled with lofty sentiments. Even though he only had the inheritance of a true dragon, and his cultivation was only at the 5th level of the Dragon Ascension realm, he was confident that he could fight for his own world here. Moreover, he was very clear that the triennial clan martial competition in the Dragon Prison domain was coming soon. At the clan martial competition, young geniuses from the Jiang clan, Ji clan, and even some other clans, who had become a dragon warrior in the last 3 years, would be able to participate in the clan martial competition. The winner would be rewarded by the sacred dragon expert, and might even be granted an audience with the Dragon King. The Jiang clan, Ji clan, and other clans' dragon martial skill inheritances came from the clan martial competition. After the clan martial competition, the clans that performed well would be able to obtain various dragon martial skills and even dragon weapons as rewards. These things were all important parts of a dragon warrior's strength, so every clan attached great importance to the clan martial competition. Unfortunately, since Jiang Zizai's disappearance, the overall strength of the Jiang clan had been deteriorating. In the 3 consecutive clan martial competitions, the Jiang clan's ranking was getting lower and lower. It was even almost at the bottom of the 17 clans in the Dragon Prison domain. The clans could be said to be the basic unit in charge of the various regions under the Dragon Prison domain. But to the Dragon King, the 17 clans were only his subordinates, and could barely be considered as a place to select talents. In the eyes of the Dragon King, he actually looked down on those clans. Ever since Jiang Zizai's disappearance 10 years ago, no one could enter the eyes of the Dragon King. In recent years, only Ji Yeshuan from the Ji clan could be considered a genius. But there was no lack of geniuses like Ji Yeshuan and Jiang Zizai in the Dragon Prison City. Almost every year, there would be several such geniuses appearing. Therefore, the clan martial competition was not a big deal in the Dragon Prison City. But to the 17 clans in the Dragon Prison domain, it was a matter of the utmost importance to the development of the entire clan. When Kang Shinmu came to the Dragon Prison City, he wanted to compete with geniuses and climb up through the competition. If he stayed in the Jiang clan, it would be too difficult to come into contact with stronger existences. Moreover, if Kang Shinmu wanted to improve, one of the ways was to devour the corpses of true dragons and above. In a small place like the Jiang clan or desolate Dragon City, such an opportunity was hard to come by. But in the Dragon Prison City, even true dragon martial artists would die outside every day, their corpses exposed in the wilderness. To Kang Shinmu, even if he was careful, he could easily find the corpses of powerful dragon martial artists in the vicinity of the Dragon Prison City. But if he only relied on picking up corpses for a living, then Kang Shinmu was too useless. Right now, his cultivation base was already at the 5th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm. Furthermore, the divine dragon's essence blood inheritance of the true dragon level was not considered too weak in Dragon Prison City. The grade of the divine dragon's essence blood inheritance was roughly in the middle, and his battle prowess at the 5th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm was considered relatively strong. With the existence of the devouring power, Kang Shinmu's ability to adapt to the environment was very strong, even surpassing some heavenly dragon martial artists. Chapter 3884. Genius 1 second. Remember love? Go. Say net, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Kang Shinmu finally stepped into Dragon Prison City. On the streets, there were all kinds of dragon warriors walking. Occasionally, there would be super experts of the divine dragon's inheritance walking through the middle of the street. Wherever they went, people would give way to them. Their attitudes were respectful, and their expressions were filled with envy and respect. Only when one's talent reached a certain level, and caught the eye of the Yen Dragon Emperor during the ceremony of the Yen Dragon Emperor, would the Yen Dragon Emperor personally bestow them with the divine dragon's inheritance blood essence. In the ordinary Yen Dragon ritual, even the most talented genius could only receive the divine dragon's inheritance blood essence. This was the rule set by the Yen Dragon Emperor. It had been so for thousands of years and had never changed. There's still 6 months until the clan tournament. In these 6 months, if I can become strong enough and obtain the recognition of a certain Lord Sacred Dragon from Dragon Prison City in the clan martial competition, I will be able to redeem some face for the Jiang clan. Moreover, that Jiang Rong will not dare to do anything excessive to me, nor will he dare to disrespect my mother. That was the thought that existed in Kang Shinmu's heart. Now that the Jiang clan situation was deteriorating, if he could stand out, he would undoubtedly achieve some of his goals. At least, his goal was to become stronger than Jiang Liuxue in these 6 months. In this year's clan tournament, Jiang Liuxue could be considered as the Jiang clan's trump card. But there were definitely other clans like her, and there were more than one. Furthermore, because the clan tournament was held once every 3 years, the geniuses who had become dragon warriors in the past 2 years would also participate in this year's clan tournament. In the past 2 years, the Jiang clan had not produced a divine dragon's inheritance dragon warrior, but in the other clans, there would be one every year. This was the biggest difference between the Jiang clan and the other clans. Jiang Liuxue was very strong, but in the dragon cage domain, she was not a terrifying existence. In fact, in the eyes of a genius like Ji Yishuan, she was still a relatively weak existence. Ji Yishuan probably wouldn't be participating in the clan martial competition this time because she'd participated in the previous clan martial competition, and she'd already attracted the attention of quite a few formidable existences of the divine dragon's inheritance. It was even to the extent that Uncle Ye was the guardian that one of the experts of the divine dragon's inheritance had arranged for her. No matter what, if Kang Shinmu wanted to show his face in the clan martial competition, he would need to work hard to improve himself within these 6 months. Fortunately, his advantage over others was that he could also cultivate at night. As long as he had enough Yaodong to devour, he didn't need to rest. So if it was 6 months for others, it was actually 8 or 9 months for him. While others were resting, he used the time to cultivate. Naturally, his progress was much faster than others. However, cultivation also required resources. Furthermore, after his cultivation level increased, he needed to constantly fight to familiarize himself with his own strength. Therefore, it was impossible for Kang Shinmu to always stay in one place and not appear. He still needed to walk around and gain experience. The place he chose was the Demon Hunters Association. The Demon Hunters Association was an organization that specialized in hunting demon beasts in the Dragon Cage City. Every day, they would issue all kinds of missions to hunt demon beasts. Through hunting demon beasts, they would obtain points exclusive to the Demon Hunters Association, which could be exchanged for corresponding items. Dragon martial skills, dragon weapons, elixirs, and so on were all available. Moreover, the grade was extremely high. This was the place that Kang Shinmu wanted to go to. Furthermore, the Demon Hunters Association also provided services such as Yaodong, which could be exchanged for dragon coins or other items. This provided convenience for many dragon warriors. The Demon Hunters Association did not only exist in the Dragon Cage city of the Dragon Cage domain, but also in other regions of the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty. There was a Demon Hunters Association in every main city, so this organization had a strong background. Its headquarters was set up in the Yen Dragon Emperor dynasty imperial capital. Even Dragon King Qiu did not dare to do anything to the Demon Hunters Association. This was also the reason why Jiang Shenwu had chosen the Demon Hunters Association. At least this place was more fair. There would be no swindling and cheating, and there would also be no robbery or backstabbing. It was well received by the majority of the dragon martial artists. Kang Xinmu arrived at the entrance of the Demon Hunters Association. This was an extremely magnificent building. The scale of the Demon Hunters Association's branch in Dragon Cage City was comparable to the grandest Jiang clan ancestral temple in the Dragon City of the Great River. In fact, it was even larger than the Jiang clan ancestral temple. The entire Demon Hunters Association was divided into several regions, mainly according to the grade of the divine dragon's blood essence and cultivation level. The Mortal Dragon region, the True Dragon region, the Heavenly Dragon region, and even the Sacred Dragon region. There were 4 regions in total. Each region was divided into 4 levels. The first level was for Dragon Ascension Realm cultivators, the second level was for Divine Martial Arts Realm cultivators, and the third level was for Nirvana Tribulation Realm cultivators. As for the fourth level, only Dragon King Qiu was qualified to step into the Dragon Cage City. Therefore, for ordinary dragon warriors, the Demon Hunters Association was divided into 3 regions and 3 levels. Depending on the level of existence, one would have to go to a region and a level. There were few exceptions. Kang Xinmu stepped straight into the first level of the True Dragon region. Currently, he could only accept some Demon Hunters tasks in this place. As he was a newcomer, he could not accept them alone. He had to find others to form a team before he could officially start the task. However, before that, he first chose to sell all the monster cores he had. Although monster cores were equivalent to his life, he had so many monster cores that he could not use up. He still had dozens of demonized monster cores he had obtained in the stone forest, which was enough for him to use for a while. Therefore, he would sell the remaining monster cores and convert them into his own strength first. This time, Kang Xinmu directly took out 400 or 500 monster cores, among which the highest was the monster core of a 7th level earth demon. The fact that Kang Xinmu, a young dragon warrior at the 5th level of the Dragon Ascension realm, could take out so many monster cores was somewhat beyond the expectations of the Demon Hunters Association. However, this kind of thing had happened before, so it did not attract too much attention. After some calculations, Kang Xinmu obtained a total of 3,500 dragon coins. With these dragon coins, he could buy some medicinal pills to further improve his cultivation level. In the Demon Hunters Association's list of products, Kang Xinmu chose some relatively common medicinal pills. Of course, even the common medicinal pills here were much better than the Earth spiritual pills he had taken in Desolate Dragon City. Earth spiritual pills were the most basic level 9 medicinal pills. But now, what Kang Xinmu bought was a level 7 medicinal pill. Although he spent 3,000 dragon coins to get one, the effect of this spirit line pill was more than 10 times better than the previous bottle of Earth spiritual pills. In terms of price to price, the price to price of a spirit line pill was several times that of the bottle of Earth spiritual pills. Kang Xinmu definitely did not suffer a loss. Chapter 3885. With the remaining 500 dragon coins, Kang Xinmu rented a small room in the Monster Hunters Association to take the Spirit Line pill and try to break through to the 6th level of the Dragon Ascension realm. In terms of safety, there was no place safer than this in the entire Dragon City. If there was, it would definitely be the City Lord's mansion. The Spiritual Line pill is made from 18 precious medicinal ingredients and the blood essence of 2 special demonic beasts. Each spiritual line pill contains a vast amount of spiritual qi. Most importantly, the medicinal efficacy of the spiritual line pill can strengthen the body of the divine dragon to a certain extent, which is useful to me. Kang Shinmu thought as he sat cross-legged in the small room. Although it was only a small room, it was enough for him as long as no one disturbed him. Moreover, every small room in the Monster Hunters Association had an array. Under the effect of the array, not only could others not enter the small room, there would not be any sound from the outside world, and it also had an effect of gathering spiritual energy in the surroundings. The effect of gathering spiritual energy was quite good. At least, it was not much different from the effect of the cultivation tower of the Jiang clan. Even in the higher level rooms, the effect of the spirit line gathering array was even stronger. Because of this, just renting this small room for 3 days required 500 dragon coins, which could be considered very extravagant. Kang Shinmu spent 3 months to obtain those monster cores, which added up to a value of 5,000 dragon coins. In total, he could only stay in this small room for a month. It was clear that his earning speed was still too slow. Of course, that was when he was at the second layer of the Dragon Ascension realm. Now that his cultivation base had improved, his hunting speed had certainly increased a lot. But even so, it was still too far-fetched for him to surpass Jiang Liuxue in 6 months. He had to work harder. The subsequent training in the Demon Hunters Association would determine what level he could reach after 6 months. But no matter what, Jiang Shenwu still had a minimum requirement. At the very least, he had to try and see if he could break through to the divine martial arts realm. In order to achieve this goal, he had to rely on fortuitous encounters. For example, when he followed Ji Yeshuan to the Dragon Nether ruins, he coincidentally found the Qitian spirit grass. This was something that even Ji Yeshuan was jealous of, and it allowed him to jump 2 levels of cultivation. This kind of opportunity could only be encountered by chance. Even some dragon warriors of the divine dragon rank would appear to fight for the Qitian spirit grass. It could be said that if it wasn't for a particularly fortuitous encounter, Kang Shinmu would never have such an opportunity. For the current Kang Shinmu, a spirit line pill was already a pretty good thing. He had to spend 2 months hunting demonic beasts in the Heaven Drive forest to exchange for a spirit line pill. However, the medicinal power contained in the spirit line pill was far inferior to the Qitian spirit grass. It was less than 1% of the Qitian spirit grass. Of course, this did not mean that 100 spirit line pills were equivalent to a single Qitian spirit grass. After taking the same pill many times, it would produce some antibodies, causing the effect to continuously decline. Moreover, the greatest value of the Qitian spirit grass was not to be taken directly. If the Qitian spirit grass was refined into a pill, its value would definitely be 1,000 times more expensive than the spirit line pill. An item worth 3 million dragon coins, even for the Jiang clan, was a huge sum of money. The main reason was that such an item was rarely used by ordinary cultivators. Rather than spending 3 million dragon coins to buy such a pill, it was better to buy other cultivation resources, which would play a much greater role for the entire tribe. After all, after taking the pill, only an individual's strength would increase, and it would not increase the overall strength of the Jiang clan. Unless it was a peerless genius, an individual's increase in martial arts realm would not affect the strength of the entire Jiang clan. After Kang Shinmu took the spirit line pill, he felt a wave of spiritual energy directly spread throughout his body. It soaked into the divine dragon blood essence, and was quickly absorbed by the divine dragon blood essence. Just this little spiritual energy, Kang Shinmu was somewhat disappointed. Compared to the Qitian spirit grass, the difference was too great. To rely on a spirit line pill to increase from the 5th to the 6th level of the Dragon Ascension realm was basically impossible, and he could not even reach 1/10 of the progress. To rely on pills to increase one's cultivation, the financial resources needed were not just a little bit. Moreover, taking pills to increase one's cultivation was relatively superficial. If one did not spend time to consolidate it, compared to the natural cultivation strength of other dragon warriors, there would be a big difference. So even if one had money, it was difficult to quickly increase one's cultivation. It had to be accompanied by cultivation consolidation and accumulation. Kang Shinmu had taken the Qitian spirit grass and directly increased his cultivation by 2 levels. There were some signs of this. The strength in his body was not as strong as that of an ordinary dragon warrior in the 5th level of the Dragon Ascension realm. If he wanted to consolidate it, he would have to experience enough battles, or meditate for nearly a month. Kang Shinmu did not have that much time to meditate, so the method he chose was to fight. After the medicinal efficacy of the spirit line pill is digested, it's time to go to the Demon Hunters Association to gain experience. Kang Shinmu thought like this, and decided to cultivate in this small room for 3 days. After all, he had rented a small room for 3 days, so he could not casually waste it. Relying on the spirit gathering array to increase his strength was a very real power, and did not need to be consolidated. Even if he cultivated in the small room, he could properly consolidate his previous rapid increase in cultivation. 3 days later, Kang Shinmu finally left the Demon Hunters Association. His cultivation had not stepped into the 6th level of the Dragon Ascension realm, and was even far from it. After accepting a mission to hunt demonic beasts from the Demon Hunters Association, he followed a Demon Hunters team to the outskirts of the Dragon Prison City. Outside the Dragon Prison City, there were many places where demonic beasts gathered, but they were relatively far away from the Dragon Prison City, and the demonic beasts there were relatively stronger. Compared to the demonic beasts in the heaven-driving forest, the demonic beasts around the Dragon Prison City did not display their profound cultivation, but mainly displayed their strong bloodline. It was similar to the inheritance of the blood essence of a mortal dragon and a true dragon, and the blood essence of a true dragon and a heavenly dragon. The bloodline of the demonic beasts around the Dragon Prison City was generally much stronger, resulting in the demon cores obtained from hunting them to be much more precious. This time, Kang Shinmu's Demon Hunters Association had a total of 8 people, and all of them were inheritors of the blood essence of a true dragon. The Demon Hunters Association mission they had accepted was to hunt a powerful demonic beast equivalent to the blood essence of a heavenly dragon, and it was an 8th level earth demon. Among the entire Demon Hunters Association, Kang Shinmu's cultivation was the weakest, but the atmosphere in the Demon Hunters Association was still harmonious, and there were no quarrels. In fact, it could be said that Kang Shinmu was forced into this group, because they were short of people, and the demonic beast was about to leave, so in a relatively rushed situation, they could only randomly pick one. Chapter 3886. This was the first time Kang Shinmu went out to hunt demon beasts after coming to Dragon Prison City. The atmosphere of the entire Demon Hunter team was very harmonious. After going out, the team leader took out 200 dragon coins and rented a beast carriage. The carriage carried the 8 people towards the target location of the mission. The objective of this mission is to hunt down an earth demon that is recuperating. This earth demon's bloodline is rather pure. It is the descendant of a vermilion bird, which is equivalent to the inherited blood essence of a heavenly dragon. The temporary team leader of the Demon Hunter team was called Kong Ci. He was a rather forthright middle-aged man with a large beard. He had the inherited blood essence of a true dragon, and his cultivation was at the 8th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm. He could be considered the main force of the entire Demon Hunter team. Wow, it's actually the bloodline of a vermilion bird. Although it's only an 8th layer earth demon and is injured, the pure bloodline already explains everything. A cute girl became excited when she heard this. After all, demon beasts with the bloodline of a vermilion bird were very rare. She had never seen one before. Her name was Shi Yutong, and she was a twin sister with an indifferent girl called Shi Yueying. Both of them had the cultivation base of the 7th level of Dragon Ascension realm. As for what kind of innate power they inherited, it was temporarily unknown. The other members of the team also introduced themselves. Kang Shinmu noted down their names one by one and told them his real name. In Dragon Prisoner City, the name Jiang Shenwu was not something that could not be used. Jiang Rong's men would not be able to find their way here. Even if they did, they would not dare to act recklessly. After all, this was not the great Jiang Dragon City, nor the Jiang clan, but the main city of the Dragon Prison Domain, Dragon Prisoner City. Even if Jiang Rong was the patriarch of the Jiang clan, it was impossible for him to do anything to Kang Shinmu in Dragon Prison City. The entire demon hunter team had a total of 8 people. The others were considered normal, but there was a youth dressed in rags who basically did not speak much. This made Kang Shinmu feel a little strange. It must be known that Kang Shinmu was considered a person of few words, but this ragged youth spoke even less than him. Moreover, there was a touch of coldness in his eyes. Being stared at by him made one feel as if a cold wind had blown past. After boarding the beast carriage, the ragged youth introduced himself. His name was simply Chioing, and his cultivation was at the 8th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm. Then he did not say a word. On the other hand, the cute girl called Shiyutong looked to be in her 20s. She was very lively, and not long after, everyone in the demon hunter team became familiar with each other, and also had a certain understanding of the dragon martial skill that each of them cultivated. Since they were going to fight together, for the sake of better coordination, everyone had to first state their position. For example, if they cultivated the body refining dragon martial skill, they would take the initiative to take on more responsibilities and take the initiative to fight head-on. If they cultivated a body-type dragon beasts, then they could take the position of a scout and become the team's eyes. The demon beast descendant with part of the vermilion bird's bloodline was recuperating in the broken lava mountain range. The temperature there was relatively high. If the innate ability of a dragon warrior was ice, then the power that they could exert would be limited. But if it was a fire attribute innate ability, then it would be better. Riding the beast carriage, they could reach a small town at the edge of the broken lava mountain range. Then they would leave the small town and enter the broken lava mountain range. The Demon Hunters Association had received news that the demonic beast named Heavenly Fire Bird was recuperating in the lava break mountain range due to its injuries. However, this should only be temporary. In less than a day, the Heavenly Fire Bird would leave the lava break mountain range. After all, it was a demon beast with part of the vermilion bird's bloodline. It would not stay in a place like the broken lava mountain range for long. There must be a gathering place for demon beasts with the same bloodline. As for where that gathering place was, no one knew. Maybe it was far away, maybe it was in a corner of the dragon prison domain, but definitely not in the dragon prison city. Otherwise, the demon beast gathering place would have already been destroyed by the experts of the dragon prison city. Although the 8 of them could fly in dragon transformation, the journey was long, and flying would consume a lot of energy. So they chose to ride the beast carriage. Fortunately, the speed of the beast carriage was very fast. The demon beast pulling the carriage was a tamed Shadowstalk horse. Every Shadowstalk horse was at least a heavenly demon when it matured. Right now, a heavenly demon-level Shadowstalk horse was pulling the beast carriage at its fastest speed. As for the one controlling the Shadowstalk horse, it was a divine martial realm dragon warrior. However, this dragon warrior had been injured and was not suited for battle. So he became a logistics member of the Demon Hunter Association. The speed of the Shadowstalk horse was not much slower than the dragon transformation. In just 2 hours, they had already traversed thousands of miles. Everyone could already see the small town at the foot of the lava mountain range in the distance. Be careful on the road. After entering the small town and leaving behind these words, the dragon warrior who was controlling the Shadowstalker horse went off to do other things. The 8 people of the Demon Hunter Association made some preparations before heading towards the broken lava mountain range. The Demon Hunter Association had already marked out the place where the Heavenly Firebird was being healed. It was a wandering dragon warrior who found it. However, whether the Heavenly Firebird was still there was unknown. You two go ahead and scout. The rest of you be careful. There are many fire attribute demon beasts in the broken lava mountain range. Don't let your guard down. As the captain, Kong Ci was the one who decided the actions of the entire team. He was very experienced in hunting demon beasts. The team moved quickly. There were many dragon warriors who entered the broken lava mountain range to hunt demon beasts. They were only one of them. However, to reach the place where the Heavenly Firebird was healed, they had to go deeper. They had to go there as fast as possible. Why don't we transform into dragons and fly there? A member of the team suggested. It's not impossible. Anyway, we only have one demon beast to hunt. If we fly there, there won't be any demon beasts that don't have eyes to stop us. Let's do it this way. However, everyone be careful and pay attention to your surroundings. In the next moment, everyone transformed into dragons. 8 divine dragons, each more than 300 feet long, appeared at the edge of the broken lava mountain range. They flew towards the top of the fiery red mountain range. The surging dragon might cause many demon beasts nearby to retreat. However, the 8 of them had only flown about 20 miles into the broken lava mountain range when they suddenly saw traces of several dragon warriors in dragon transformation. Huh! Kong Ci frowned when he saw the situation. When he saw the appearance of the dragon martialists, his expression changed drastically. Run! Chapter 3887. Kong Shinmu did not know the identity of the dragon warriors. But just as Kong Ci shouted the word, "Quick," the dragon warriors flew towards them at high speed. The dragon warriors all had an extremely strong killing intent, as if they wanted to kill Kong Shinmu and the others. Sensing the strong killing intent from the other party, not only the temporary leader Kong Ci, but the other members of the small team also quickly turned around and retreated as fast as they could. The divine dragon soared in the sky. The killing intent was spreading from afar. Jiang Shenwu and the others clearly knew that they were absolutely no match for the dragon warriors on the other side. This was because among the dragon warriors on the other side, there was actually a dragon warrior who had inherited the heavenly dragon's blood essence. Moreover, it was a powerful existence in the divine martial realm. If they were no match for them, they could only escape. This is the blood-red shadow, an executioner who specializes in killing our hunter teams. Who would have thought that they would appear in the lava mountains? Kong Ci gritted his teeth, looking very angry. We are not as fast as them. The young girl, Shi Yutong, was a little panicked. Of course, she had heard of the name of Blood-Red Shadow. It was a notorious bandit group near Dragon Prison City. It was said that Dragon Prison City had launched many attacks, but the Blood-Red Shadow had always escaped. Who would have thought that they would meet them here? Don't worry, follow me, I am very familiar with the lava mountains. After Kong Ci said this, his divine dragon body suddenly twisted, and he flew towards the mountains below, quickly disappearing into a valley crack, giving everyone a glimmer of hope. Kong Shinmu and the others naturally followed closely, but during this time, Kong Shinmu frowned slightly. The situation did not seem right. It was not that there was something wrong with the blood-red shadow appearing here, but if the blood-red shadow were to appear, why would it be such a small fry, and why would it rob a low-level hunter team like them? It was said that the leader of the blood-red shadow was a super expert of the same level as the Dragon King, and he did not have many subordinates. Logically speaking, he would not appear in a place like this. But in any case, it was a fact that someone was chasing Kong Shinmu. Whether the other party was the Crimson Shadow or not, he could only escape. Judging from Kong Ci's words, he seemed to have a deep understanding of the lava mountain range. However, Kong Shinmu thought of another possibility. If Kong Ci was in cahoots with the pursuers, wouldn't that be terrible? I have to be careful. Kong Shinmu reminded himself as he followed behind Kong Ci. The group of 8 followed closely behind Kong Ci's dragon body and entered the valley crack. Then, he kept twisting and turning in the valley's crevice, and very soon, he had left his pursuers in the dust. Hoo-hoo, we're finally safe. Shi Yutong turned back into her human form and heaved a sigh of relief. Her sweaty appearance was very cute. Her sister, Shi Yueying, was still cold. She turned back into her human form from the ice divine dragon and stood beside Shi Yutong, looking around. This was a chaotic and complicated terrain within the lava mountain range. From time to time, some flames and magma would appear and erupt from the rocks nearby, but the power was not strong for the many dragon warriors. This place was deserted, which made Kong Shinmu even more vigilant. Just when everyone was heaving a sigh of relief, a sudden change occurred. From the direction of the entrance of the valley, a group of dragon warriors transformed into divine dragon bodies and suddenly appeared. Ice, fire, and hurricane, these three kinds of talents were activated in the form of dragon martial techniques, shrouding everyone in an instant. Run! It was obvious that the 5 dragon warriors had caught up with them. Everyone panicked and wanted to escape from the other exit of the valley. But unfortunately, there were already people guarding the exit of the valley. The team leader, Kong Ci, stood in the direction of the valley's exit. Qiu Ying, the silent young man in tattered clothes, stood beside him. Both of them stood there quietly, expressionless. Kong Ci, what are you doing? Shi Yutong was surprised. Quickly bring us out of here, there's no need to say anything. Can't you tell? Shi Yueying said coldly. Without hesitation, she transformed into her divine dragon form. A 300 feet long ice divine dragon appeared. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew through the entire valley. It was as if winter had arrived. The wind and snow scattered, freezing the flames and magma near the valley. Shi Yueying attacked without hesitation. The dragon martial skill, Sunset Snowfall, brought with it a blizzard, and fell towards Kong Ci and Qiu Ying. Huh, amazing. Kong Ci, the middle-aged man, laughed heartily. He did not feel guilty for doing evil. He was already prepared for battle. He turned into his dragon form and was ready to receive Shi Yueying's attack. He did not need to defeat Shi Yueying. He only needed to delay her for a while. Soon, the 5 experts behind would be able to kill everyone in the field. Then, they would take away their belongings and complete a beautiful robbery. There would definitely be a lot of gains. To be on the safe side, Kong Ci had brought along young dragon martial artists who were not very strong this time. Although these guys would be less profitable, the risk was also much lower, and there would not be any repercussions after killing them. There was no suspense in the battle. The other members of the team also transformed into their divine dragon forms and attacked Kong Ci and Qiu Ying. In their eyes, Kong Ci and Qiu Ying were relatively easy to deal with. Compared to the 5 people behind them, there was actually a divine martial arts realm cultivator. This was not someone they could deal with. As for the demon hunting mission that they had accepted, it had long been thrown to the back of everyone's minds. The only thing they needed to do now was to stay alive. The 5 people united and launched a fierce attack on Kong Ci and Qiu Ying. Even the girl Shi Yutong suddenly reacted after the sisters attacked. She also turned into a dragon and attacked the two. Only Kong Shinmu did not pay attention to Kong Ci and Qiu Ying. Because he had to stop the 5 people behind them. In this case, he hoped to choose to deal with Kong Ci and Qiu Ying. That way, it would be easier for him to break through and escape. But the other 5 people all chose to deal with Kong Ci, so he could only stop the 5 people behind them. In this way, there was still a chance of survival. Otherwise, if all of them went to deal with Kong Ci and Qiu Ying, the people behind them would attack and everyone would be finished. 5 true dragons, one of which is at the first level of the divine martial realm. It's too strong. I'm afraid I can't withstand it. I have to swallow enough monster cores to save my life. Chapter 3888. Kong Shinmu's actions surprised Shi Yutong, Shi Yueying, and the others. With his current cultivation base, wouldn't he be courting death if he were to fight against those 5 powerful dragon warriors? However, if it wasn't for Kong Shinmu, all of them would be in danger. For a moment, the 2 girls started to admire Kong Shinmu. After all, there weren't many people in this world who could think of others at such a time. A fierce battle was about to break out. Shi Yutong, Shi Yueying, and the other 3 dragon warriors all transformed into divine dragons and charged towards Kong Ci and Qiu Ying. Only Kong Shinmu alone held back the 5 pursuers. Among the 5 dragon warriors, the leader was also a black dragon. His innate talent was the power of corrosion, and he had already stepped into the divine martial realm. Seeing Kang Shinmu charging towards him, he couldn't help but laugh in anger. Could it be that in this kid's eyes, he was an easy target? Kill him. Black Dragon, who was at the divine martial realm, roared and led his 4 subordinates to attack Jiang Shenwu. All kinds of dragon martial skills condensed from their innate abilities caused the entire mountain valley crack to become like a natural disaster. Kang Shinmu transformed into a black dragon alone and broke into this natural disaster. At the same time, he swallowed a 7th-tier demonized monster core, and a surge of demonic chi flowed into his black dragon body along with the power of devouring. In the next moment, ice, fire, and hurricane erupted at the same time, shrouding Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. The terrifying destructive power almost tore him apart. Fortunately, he had just swallowed a demonized monster core, and the endless power of the earth surged into his divine dragon body. Once there was an injury, it was almost immediately healed. For a moment, Kang Shinmu couldn't be harmed. Except for the black dragon leader, who was at the 1st tier of the divine martial realm, the other 4 dragon warriors besieging Kang Shinmu were only at the 6th and 7th tier of the dragon ascension realm. For Kang Shinmu, they weren't too strong. If it was a one-on-one battle, Kang Shinmu was confident that he could kill any one of the 4 dragon warriors. That is, the divine martial realm dragon leader was a little more troublesome. Kang Shinmu was sure that he wasn't a match for him. But now, he didn't need to kill him. He only needed to delay him. Once the 5 dragon ascension realm realm dragon warriors, they could find an opportunity to escape. Huh. As if discovering that Kang Shinmu was very durable, the black dragon leader was a little surprised. But then, he opened his dragon mouth and shot out a jet of black light, accurately landing on the neck of the black dragon transformed by Kang Shinmu. Suddenly, a terrifying corrosive power descended and began to rapidly corrode the flesh and blood of the black dragon body. Almost in an instant, the white bones of Kang Shinmu's black dragon form could be seen. But in the next moment, the power of the demonized monster core continued to be activated. As the devouring power surged into his wound, it quickly healed his injury. At the same time, Kang Shinmu seized the opportunity and quickly flew to the side of one of the Frost Divine Dragons with his 2 dragon skills, Sky-Piercing Dragon Shadow and Roaring Sky Dragon Claw. He cut a hole in the Divine Dragon's body, and the Divine Dragon's blood essence gushed out. Devour. Without hesitation, Kang Shinmu clasped the wound with his dragon claw. Then, the dark devouring power emerged and directly eroded the Dragon Ascension Realm dragon's body, then began to devour the Dragon Ascension Realm dragon's flesh and blood essence. Once Kang Shinmu seized the opportunity, Kang Shinmu would not let go easily until the Dragon Ascension Realm dragon was completely devoured to death or Kang Shinmu himself died. At this moment, the Frost Divine Dragon was firmly held by Kang Shinmu, but this dragon warrior did not realize the seriousness of the matter. After all, the dragon warrior had not seen the existence of the devouring power, and its lethality was limited. It had to be constantly devoured to make the opponent feel that something was wrong. Kill him quickly, don't drag it out for too long. The first layer of the God Martial Realm Black Dragon snorted coldly and continued to attack Kang Shinmu with its corrosive power. His flesh was quickly corroded by the innate power of the Black Dragon. Even the demonized monster core that he had just swallowed was no longer enough to keep Kang Shinmu in an unharmed state. Fortunately, his devouring power was constantly absorbing the life essence of the Frost Divine Dragon, preventing him from being completely corroded by the corrosive power. However, following that, the other 3 divine dragons' innate talents came one after another. One of them was also the power of frost, while the other 2 were respectively the power of hurricane and raging flames. The terrifying destructive power left deep scars on Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. If it weren't for the fact that dragon bones were much tougher than divine dragon flesh, Kang Shinmu's dragon bones would have been destroyed. Hold on. Kang Shinmu gritted his teeth and continued to pour the devouring power into the Frost Divine Dragon's body, increasing its resistance to the Frost Divine Dragon's innate talent. In this way, the threat of the other dragon warrior with the Frost Divine Dragon's innate talent to him became lower and lower. This was also the reason why Kang Shinmu made the Frost Divine Dragon his first target. As long as he could devour the essence of the Frost Divine Dragon's flesh, it would be equivalent to cutting off the threat of two opponents. Even so, Kang Shinmu's black dragon body was rapidly being destroyed. Countless wounds appeared on his divine dragon body. Although he was in the process of recovering, the process was extremely painful. Every wound was so deep that the bones could be seen. Every wound was constantly being destroyed and healed. The cycle of endless pain was endless. If it was anyone else who had to endure it, they would have been unable to endure it. However, Kang Shinmu was already used to such a situation. Although the pain this time was more severe than any other time before, he still gritted his teeth and endured it. This brat, what is going on? The divine martial realm black dragon saw this and immediately became gloomy. He originally thought that this brat could be easily killed, but he didn't expect this brat to be so tough. He actually endured the attacks of the 5 of them and didn't die, persisting for such a long time. But this is the end. Devils devour. The black dragon leader finally used the dragon warrior skill. The endless corrosive power condensed into a dark hand that appeared out of thin air beside Kang Shinmu and grabbed Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. Then, as if it was gently squeezing, it actually broke Kang Shinmu's black dragon body into 2 pieces. Kang Shinmu's black dragon tail was completely torn off, causing him to let out a painful dragon roar. Then, the devouring power became even more violent. Although his dragon tail was torn off, he wouldn't die. However, if this dragon warrior skill was used again, Kang Shinmu was afraid that he wouldn't be able to withstand it. Chapter 3889. After Kang Shinmu launched the devouring power on the Ice Divine Dragon for a period of time, most of the Ice Divine Dragon's flesh and blood essence had been devoured by Kang Shinmu and turned into his own life force to restore his heavily injured black dragon body. And the Ice Divine Dragon was getting weaker and weaker. This Ice Divine Dragon was a 7th-tier Dragon Ascension realm martial artist. His cultivation base was not much higher than Kang Shinmu's, and his strength was not very strong. In particular, his divine dragon body was still relatively weak, and he did not cultivate any body-refining dragon martial skills, so Kang Shinmu could easily injure him and then corrode the Ice Divine Dragon's body with the devouring power. At that moment, the Ice Divine Dragon felt as if he was suffering from a serious illness. He had power in his body, but he couldn't use it. He began to panic. The feeling of his life force constantly draining away made him panic like he had never felt before. "Big brother, save me!" The Ice Divine Dragon hurriedly cried out. His whole divine dragon body struggled with all his might, but his struggle was getting weaker and weaker. At the beginning, he could not break free from Kang Shinmu's control. Now that more than half of his flesh and blood essence had been devoured, how could he escape from Kang Shinmu's hands? The devouring power continued to devour his flesh and blood essence. And although Kang Shinmu's dragon tail was torn off, in the process of constantly devouring, he still managed to preserve his life. Moreover, the flesh and blood of his dragon tail began to regenerate. The divine martial realm martial artist's devil devour was enough to tear off Kang Shinmu's divine dragon tail, but it could not take Kang Shinmu's life. Although this was just an ordinary move of the martial artist, it was enough to surprise him. This kid was so strange. Logically speaking, if the dragon tail was torn off, every martial artist would be in incomparable pain, and might even faint from the pain. But now, this young black dragon in front of him seemed to be completely fine and continued to attack the Ice Divine Dragon. And it seemed that if he did not help, the Ice Divine Dragon would die because of this. Interesting. The dragon warrior of the god martial arts realm was called Lu Yuefei. He was the leader of this group. With the cultivation of the first level of the god martial arts realm, he specialized in plundering in the lava mountain range. He had never seen such a strange guy. This made him want to capture Kang Shinmu alive, but compared to that, he didn't want to lose the life of one of his men. Since that's the case, I can only, Lu Yufei thought to himself. His black dragon form flickered with inky starlight. For a moment, it was as though night had enveloped the valley. It was likely that he was about to execute some sort of tyrannical dragon martial technique. Suddenly, however, an ice bird condensed from the power of ice swept forward. For a time, it froze Lu Yufei's black dragon body in place. The black starlight also stopped condensing. It was as if time had stopped. Looking to the side, it was actually one of the two girls, the ice-cold Shi Yueying, who had temporarily restrained Lu Yufei, giving Kang Shinmu some breathing space. Go quickly. Shi Yueying's voice was very cold, but it could be heard that she still had hope for Kang Shinmu. At this moment, Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying had unexpectedly subdued Kang Ci and Xiao Ying, and then Shi Yueying had the opportunity to turn around and help Kang Shinmu. The ice bird froze Lu Yufei, but it was still very difficult. After all, no matter how strong Shi Yueying was, she was only in the 7th level of the Dragon Ascension realm. Her fighting strength was at most equivalent to the 8th or 9th level of the Dragon Ascension realm. It was almost impossible to kill Lu Yufei. After all, he was an existence of the God Martial Arts realm. After stepping into the God Martial Arts realm, the difference between the dragon warriors was like heaven and earth. It was possible to restrain him, but it was too unrealistic to want to kill him. It was also at this moment that the ice divine dragon that Jiang Shenwu had been clinging on to finally breathed its last. The entire body of the ice divine dragon fell to the ground, smashing into a crack in the valley and landing on a pool of magma. At this time, of course, Kang Shinmu did not have the leisure to devour his opponent. The main thing was that the effect of devouring was not very obvious. There was no need to risk his life to do this kind of thing. Moreover, devouring a dragon warrior was not something he could do in front of others. Therefore, he dragged his seriously injured divine dragon body and immediately approached Shi Yueying. The ice divine dragon that Shi Yueying had transformed into saw that Kang Shinmu's dragon tail had been torn off and that he was flying unsteadily. She grabbed him with her dragon claws and flew away at a very fast speed. The other 3 subordinates of Lu Yufei wanted to give chase, but they were trapped by Shi Yutong with the power of the drizzle, unable to pursue. The 2 girls, Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying, transformed into divine dragons, took Kang Shinmu and left the valley crack together. Soon, they disappeared in front of Lu Yufei and the others. As for the other 3 dragon warriors who followed them, they did not come back to care about Kang Shinmu at all. When Kang Ci and Xiao Ying were defeated, the 3 of them fled in all directions. Therefore, only the 2 girls, Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying, were left, and the 3 of them walked hand in hand with Kang Shinmu. In the valley crack, Lu Yufei quickly woke up from the freezing effect of the ice crystal bird. However, he realized that the group of prey, including Kang Shinmu, had disappeared. He immediately flew into a rage. You bunch of trash, you can't even capture one person? You're screwed this time. Boss, let's hurry up and chase after them. We should still be able to catch up, chase my ass. Lu Yufei did not even look back as he flew in the direction he came from. Hurry up and run. We can't stay here anymore. Since we let them escape, the people from Dragon Prison City will soon come to investigate. We are not Crimson Shadow, once we are caught, we will definitely die. The 2 dragon warriors, Kang Ci and Xiao Ying, were now seriously injured and had fallen into the valley. If not, they would not have let them escape. After all, there were only 2 of them. Kang Ci and Xiao Ying originally only wanted to hold Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying back until Lu Yufei and the others caught up. Then, they would be done. However, they did not expect that the brat called Kang Shinmu to be able to hold Lu Yufei and the others back for such a long time. They could not hold on and were seriously injured. Especially Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying, these 2 young dragon warriors' combat power was actually quite terrifying. Even Kong Xiai and Xiaoying together could not withstand them, not to mention the other 3 dragon warriors attacking together. In order to escape, these fellows used all kinds of methods. Naturally, Kong Xiai and Xiaoying could not withstand them. "Hurry up and leave with us." Before Lu Yuefei left, he turned around and glared at Kong Xiai and Xiaoying. He then ordered his subordinates to bring the 2 seriously injured people along. One of Lu Yuefei's subordinates was killed by Kong Xinmu. Naturally, he could not return empty-handed. Coincidentally, they let the fish slip away this time. Hence, Kong Xiai and Xiaoying could only follow them on the same boat. Chapter 3890. The 2 girls quickly brought Kong Xinmu out of the crack in the valley and went to a remote place in the lava mountain range. After making sure that no one followed them, the 2 girls put Kong Xinmu down. The 3 of them returned to their human forms. "Amazing, you're Kong Xinmu, right? You were able to resist the attacks of those 5 guys for so long and slowly recover from your injuries. Amazing." Shi Yutong had always been talkative. Now that she was talking to Kong Xinmu, who had saved their lives, she became even more lively. Kong Xinmu closed his eyes and leaned against the slightly hot wall of the lava mountain range. He continued to devour demonic elixirs to heal his injuries. His injuries were very serious. After transforming into a dragon, his tail had been torn off, causing him to lose a lot of vitality. That kind of pain was not something that ordinary people could endure. Him being able to endure it was already a performance that surpassed ordinary people. Now that he was relying on the devouring power to devour demonic elixirs to heal his injuries, he was still in extreme pain. Of course, he was not in the mood to chat with Shi Yutong. "Boring, you don't even know how to reply." Shi Yutong waited for a while. Seeing that Kong Xinmu was still closing his eyes to heal his injuries, she curled her lips in boredom. However, Shi Yueying said coldly, "Let him heal his injuries." Although her words were very cold, it was obvious that she was concerned. The 2 girls stayed by Kong Xinmu's side and leaned against the wall with him. They waited for Kong Xinmu to heal his injuries and inform his family members to come over. In reality, the 2 girls were not unaffiliated like Jiang Shenwu. Instead, they were members of a clan in Dragon Prison City. In order to accumulate battle experience, they went out alone to hunt demons. However, they did not expect to encounter the robbery of a dragon martial practitioner. If it was not for Kong Xinmu risking his life to stall this dragon martial artist, the consequences would have been unimaginable. They would not have even been able to get the news out. Shi Yueying looked at Kong Xinmu with concern. Although her expression was cold, her heart was still very kind. She knew very well what it meant to lose the divine dragon's tail. This young dragon warrior named Kong Xinmu would find it difficult to advance his cultivation further. It could be said that his future was bleak. Of course, she did not know that Kong Xinmu had the ability to devour demon cores to heal himself. After all, this ability was too rare in this world. It was easy to treat some of the more ordinary injuries. However, the injury of a divine dragon's tail being forcefully torn off was too severe. Unless one had access to some special elixirs, it would be impossible to treat it. "When I get there, I'll ask father to find him a position in the family. This time, it can be said that he helped us," Shi Yutong said softly. Shi Yueying nodded and didn't have any objections. Even if their father knew about today's matter, he wouldn't abandon this young dragon warrior. What a pity. Shi Yueying sighed. She could see that Kong Xinmu was not very old. In Dragon Prisoner City, there were not many people who could become dragon martial artists at this age. Moreover, Kong Xinmu had not just stepped into the Dragon Ascension realm. In Dragon Prisoner City, Shi Yueying had never heard of a dragon martial artist family with the surname Jiang. Therefore, this Kong Xinmu's achievements were even more precious. It could be seen that his talent was extremely high, even surpassing her and Shi Yutong. Unfortunately, now that the divine dragon's tail had been torn off, he would encounter countless difficulties and dangers on the path of cultivation. He might even stagnate because of this. Kang Shinmu did not understand these two girls. After all, he had just met them, so he didn't know what they were thinking. However, from the way they took him away before leaving, he could tell that they were still very kind. This allowed Kang Shinmu to stay here and recuperate at ease. After the divine dragon's tail was torn off, Kang Shinmu, who had returned to his human form, felt that something was missing. He felt that he couldn't use the power in his body. Fortunately, the devouring power could completely absorb the energy contained in the demonized Yaodong and use it to heal any injuries on Kang Shinmu's body. After about 4 hours, Kang Shinmu felt that his injuries were almost healed. Just to heal the divine dragon's tail, he had consumed 5 demonized Yaodong. It could be seen that his injuries were indeed very serious. If not for the devouring power, Kang Shinmu would have been basically crippled. After all, how could an opponent in the divine martial artist realm be so easy to pin down? This was because Lu Yufa hadn't expected Shi Yueying to be able to hold him off for a short period of time and had underestimated her. Otherwise, he would have used his killer move right from the start and killed Kang Shinmu instantly. Unfortunately, a single mistake could cause everlasting sorrow. He had made the mistake of underestimating his opponent, so Lu Yufa could only flee in panic. He didn't dare to stay in the lava mountain range any longer. When Kang Shinmu had almost finished recuperating, a loud dragon roar suddenly came from the distant sky. This dragon roar made Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying both heave a sigh of relief. They could tell that it was their father's dragon roar, which meant that their father was already nearby. As long as he was within the range of Dragon Prison City, it could be said that he was absolutely safe. Even if the real Crimson Shadow attacked, their father would still be able to protect them. This was because their father was one of the few divine dragon experts in Dragon Prison City, the divine dragon, Shi Tao. The divine dragon was revered in Dragon Prison City and was basically only slightly weaker than the Dragon King. Moreover, the Dragon King wouldn't usually appear in front of the public. Therefore, the divine dragon Shi Tao could basically be considered as the person in charge of Dragon Prison City. Of course, he wasn't the only divine dragon in Dragon Prison City, but this was already very impressive. With the divine dragon Shi Tao here, even the real Crimson Shadow might not be able to gain any advantage over him. Therefore, the current situation was definitely safe. As for Lu Yufa and the others, they must have already escaped. Even if they didn't know Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying's identities, they wouldn't be able to openly plunder nearby. If Lu Yufa knew Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying's identities, he probably wouldn't have dared to do this and attack them. I'll look after him. Go and bring father over, Shi Yueying said to her sister. Okay. Shi Yutong nodded and turned into a dragon. She flew up into the sky above the lava mountain range and prepared to welcome their father, the divine dragon Shi Tao. Shi Yueying was left alone, emitting a cold aura. She took a few glances at Kang Shinmu and suddenly frowned. This was because she felt that the young dragon warrior's aura seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. It didn't seem like he had just been seriously injured. He's recovering so quickly. Chapter 3891. Kang Shinmu opened his eyes. He smiled gratefully at the cold girl, Shi Yueying. My recovery speed is my specialty, it's related to my talent. Thank you for saving me this time. You saved us first, that's why I helped you. Shi Yueying said coldly, returning to her cold self when she saw that he had woken up. Kang Shinmu didn't care about what she said. At least from the fact that the two sisters had turned around to take him away, he could tell that the two girls were kind-hearted, unlike the other 3 dragon warriors who had escaped, who didn't care about Kang Shinmu at all. This time, Kang Shinmu and the 2 girls could be said to have saved each other. From Kang Shinmu's point of view, they didn't owe each other anything. But the 2 girls didn't think so. It was because Kang Shinmu had stalled the divine martial realm dragon warrior that they had the chance to defeat Kang Ci and Qiuing and escape. If it wasn't for Kang Shinmu, no one else would have been willing to do it, and they wouldn't have been able to do it. Who could be like Kang Shinmu? Who could resist so many powerful dragon warriors when he was only in the Dragon Ascension realm and not die? And his injuries recovered so quickly. Follow me back to Dragon Prison City, my father should want to see you. Shi Yueying said coldly to Kang Shinmu. Your father, who is he? Kang Shinmu didn't agree immediately, but asked casually. Divine Dragon Shi Tao. Shi Yueying said indifferently. Her tone was filled with pride, but she did not look down on Jiang Shenwu. This time, you saved us sisters. It's just that your strength is not ordinary, but this time, even your dragon tail was torn off. If you want anything, my father will basically satisfy you. Kang Shinmu nodded silently. He didn't refuse her kindness. Although his dragon tail should have recovered, if there were cultivation resources for him to take, why would he refuse? He wasn't a stubborn person. If someone gave him benefits, he would definitely take it. Moreover, the clan tournament was very close. In less than 6 months, if he wanted to surpass Jiang Liuxue of the Jiang clan, and the other geniuses of the other clans, he had to obtain the greatest amount of cultivation resources. Soon, a group of dragon warriors descended from the sky and came to where the two were. The leading girl, Shi Yutong, cheerfully said to a middle-aged man beside her, Father, that's Kang Shinmu. If it weren't for him stopping the divine martial realm dragon warrior, we probably wouldn't have escaped. The middle-aged man wore a brocade and luxurious robe. His eyebrows were raised like swords, and his expression carried the dignity of someone who had been in a high position for a long time. A gourd hung on his waist, and Jiang Shenwu had no way of knowing what was inside the gourd. This was the sacred dragon Shi Tao. Kang Shinmu sized him up and realized that he was also being sized up. However, he didn't have anything that he couldn't let him see, so he stood up and straightened his back. Little brother, thank you for saving my daughters. Tong told me that a youth younger than them saved them, but I didn't believe her. Now that I see it, little brother is indeed so young. Haha. The sacred dragon Shi Tao didn't put on any airs. Although his words were dignified, there was also a sense of familiarity, which made Kang Shinmu have a good impression of him. I heard that your injuries are not light. How about this, follow us back to the mansion in Dragon Prison City. We have to at least help you recover from your injuries. In this period of time, don't run around and go to places like the Demon Hunters Association. How about it? The sacred dragon Shi Tao said to Kang Shinmu. My injuries aren't a problem, but I want to become stronger. If staying in your mansion can make me stronger, then that's fine. Kang Shinmu said in a humble tone. I see. The sacred dragon Shi Tao nodded, finally understanding what Kang Shinmu was thinking. Don't worry. If you don't need our healing resources, we'll give you some pills that can increase your cultivation. How about it? Then there's no problem. Go. Kang Shinmu nodded. Although the sacred dragon Shi Tao didn't specify how many resources he would give, how could a powerful sacred dragon be stingy with a mere wandering dragon? Just a few cultivation resources would allow Kang Shinmu to increase his cultivation by at least 1 or 2 tiers. This was a chance for him, but if the sacred dragon Shi Tao wasn't willing, he couldn't be bothered to ask for it. In any case, his injuries weren't as serious as they seemed to others. Kang Shinmu's dragon tail had recovered after he devoured several demonized Yao cores, but no one knew about this. Even the ice-cold Shi Yueying didn't know about this. She only knew that when Kang Shinmu was in human form, his injuries had healed considerably. At the very least, they wouldn't affect his movements and cultivation anymore. This didn't mean that his dragon tail had completely healed. Therefore, when Shi Yueying saw him give up on healing pills and choose cultivation pills, she was a little displeased. She thought to herself that this kid really didn't know what was good for him. However, she didn't have any deep feelings for Kang Shinmu, so she didn't care too much about him. Then let's go. The sacred dragon Shi Tao raised his hand, and a white cloud appeared in the void. Then, It carried everyone out of the lava mountain range, flying towards Dragon Prisoner City at an extremely fast speed. Jiang Shenwu was also carried on this white cloud. Walking on the cloud felt pretty good. Compared to transforming into a dragon and flying, it had a different flavor. The most important thing was that he did not need to expend much energy. For a dragon warrior at the Divine Dragon Realm, this kind of method was too common. As the magnificent city walls of Dragon Prisoner City appeared in their line of sight, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The 5 dragon warriors who came with the sacred dragon Shitao were also extremely powerful. However, they were very worried about the safety of Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying. Now that they had finally returned to Dragon Prisoner City safely, there definitely wouldn't be any accidents. Originally, they had heard the news that an organization claiming to be the Crimson Shadow had their eyes on the 2 ladies. This made them all feel as if they were facing a great enemy. However, they didn't expect it to be a fake in the end. Of course, it was all thanks to this kid called Kang Shinmu. Many people were very grateful to Kang Shinmu. Although they didn't have much to do with Kang Shinmu had saved the 2 ladies, so he was the benefactor of the Shi clan. To them, he was someone they had to treat well. We've arrived at the Shi clan residence. Little brother, take a rest first. I'll send someone to fetch some pills and see if they can help you. After the sacred dragon Shitao finished speaking to Kang Shinmu, the white cloud carried everyone all the way to the west of Dragon Prisoner City. The west of Dragon Prisoner City was usually under the jurisdiction of the sacred dragon Shitao. In this region, the Shi clan could be said to be the strongest existence. The Shi clan was not like the Jiang clan, a tribe that had been sent outside. The overall strength of the tribes in Dragon Prisoner City was at least equivalent to the Jiang clan. Chapter 3892. Dragon Prison City, west of the city, Shi clan mansion. This was an extremely magnificent building complex. The Shi clan had tens of thousands of dragon warriors and hundreds of thousands of commoners living in this building complex. It was one of the major powers in Dragon Prison City. In the entire Dragon Prison domain, the Shi clan could be said to be one of the top 10 clans. It was much stronger than the Jiang clan and Ji clan outside Dragon Prison City. Kang Shinmu sat alone in the back garden of the Shi clan mansion, drinking tea. This courtyard belonged to him alone. Without his permission, no one other than sacred dragon Shitao could step in. Of course, it was not a problem for the 2 girls, Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying, to come in. But other than the 3 of them, anyone else had to get Kang Shinmu's permission to enter. This was the respect that sacred dragon Shitao showed to Kang Shinmu. In addition, he had also obtained a Xian Yuan clear gathering pill. This pill was refined from the blood essence of a sky demon king, a Xian Yuan beast. It was also mixed with many natural cooling herbs. It was extremely beneficial to a dragon warrior's cultivation. Not only could it increase a dragon warrior's cultivation level, it could also help a dragon warrior consolidate their essence and foundation, laying a foundation for future cultivation. After taking the Xian Yuan clear gathering pill, not only would a dragon warrior's cultivation level increase, their cultivation speed would also be much faster than others for a period of time. It was equivalent to bathing in a spirit gathering array at all times. Moreover, after Kang Shinmu came to the Shi clan mansion, he had obtained a token that allowed him to enter the Shi clan mansion's cultivation tower. The cultivation pagoda in the Shi tribal clan's mansion was much more effective in increasing one's cultivation speed. It allowed ordinary dragon warriors to cultivate at 3 times the normal speed, increasing their cultivation level. In addition to the effects of the Xian Yuan clarity gathering pill, it would last for 3 months. It could be foreseen that in the next 3 months, Kang Shinmu's cultivation level would increase greatly. The strength of a dragon martial artist is one aspect of cultivation, another is the grade of the divine dragon's blood essence, and another is the dragon martial technique. Kang Shinmu pondered in his heart on how to reach a strength that was at least stronger than Zhang Liuxue in 6 months. But no matter how he thought about it, he still needed to obtain an even more powerful dragon martial skill. Currently, His dragon martial skill was not weak, especially his iron blood dragon body, which had been cultivated to the earth stage, causing his divine dragon body to be as hard as iron. However, since he was unable to raise the divine dragon blood essence to the heavenly dragon level in a short period of time, the dragon martial technique was something he had to improve in order to surpass Jiang Liuxue. The Roaring Sky Dragon Claw and the Void-Piercing Dragon Shadow were two dragon martial techniques that were considered pretty good in the Jiang clan. However, the dragon martial technique that Jiang Liuxue cultivated was not much worse than those two techniques. Furthermore, she was a dragon warrior that had inherited the heavenly dragon's blood essence. The sacred dragon Shi Tao has already given me a Xian Yuan clear gathering pill, which is worth at least hundreds of thousands of dragon coins. He has also given me the qualifications to cultivate in the cultivation tower. This is already enough to repay me for what I've done. Furthermore, the Shi Yueying sisters saved me, so it's not appropriate to ask for the dragon martial technique. Furthermore, a tribe's dragon martial technique is not passed down to outsiders, Kang Xinmu thought to himself. He knew that he needed to obtain a stronger dragon martial technique from other sources. The Monster Hunters Association was currently his most convenient channel. However, he did not plan on accepting any missions from the Monster Hunters Association for the time being. This was the best time for him to raise his cultivation after taking the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill. If the effects of the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill were combined with the cultivation tower, Kang Xinmu's 3 days of cultivation would be equivalent to an ordinary dragon warrior cultivating outside for a month. One could imagine how terrifying the effects of the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill were. However, the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill contained a special herb. If this herb was taken too much in a short period of time, it would cause harm to the dragon warrior's body. Therefore, the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill, as well as other pills that contained this special herb, could not be taken in a short period of time. Basically, if one wanted to take a second Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill, they had to wait at least a year to allow the medicinal essence to completely settle and dissipate in the body. Otherwise, the disadvantages would outweigh the advantages. The two girls, Shi Yueying and Shi Yutong, had already taken the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill. In fact, the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill was the finale item of the auction house under the Shi tribal clan. Only 3 pills were produced every month, and they were refined by an alchemist of the Shi tribal clan. For the sake of the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill, many factions that were at odds with the Shi tribal clan would come to the auction house under the Shi tribal clan to throw money. This was because the effects of the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill on the younger generation of dragon warriors were too good for these factions. Kang Xinmu was naturally grateful for this. He understood that sacred dragon Shi Tao was thanking him for saving his daughters, and on the other hand, wanted to rope him in. Unfortunately, Kang Xinmu naturally would not be roped in by sacred dragon Shi Tao. His gaze had long since reached a higher level with the black dragon's consciousness in his body. In the Zhou dragon's nether ruins, he had even devoured the dragon's soul of Zhou, which was comparable to the Dragon King. Compared to him, sacred dragon Shi Tao was far inferior. At least, Kang Xinmu could be sure that if the dragon warrior, Zhou, was still alive, he would definitely be much stronger than sacred dragon Shi Tao. He would be a terrifying existence that was not inferior to the Dragon King of the Dragon Prison Domain. Let's go cultivate first. Kang Xinmu took the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill and headed towards the Shi tribal clan's cultivation tower. After he left the courtyard, many of the dragon warriors and commoners of the Shi tribal clan began discussing him. Now, everyone knew that this was the youth who had saved the 2 young ladies in the Broken Lava Mountain range. He was highly regarded by Lord Sacred Dragon, who even had the intention of taking him in and nurturing him. As usual, Kang Xinmu ignored the discussions of the outsiders. He only focused on what he was about to do. Soon, he arrived at the cultivation tower. He stepped into it and chose an empty cultivation room. Then, he felt the extremely rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Finally, he sat down and swallowed the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill. At that moment, his limbs and bones seemed to give birth to an endless amount of spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It tempered his body, causing him to undergo a process of being reborn. In 3 days, I might be able to directly raise 2 realms, or even higher. Kang Shinmu was looking forward to the effects of the Xian Yuan Clear Gathering Pill. After all, it was a precious pill that was famous throughout the entire Dragon Prison City. If not for a fortuitous encounter, it would have been impossible for him to obtain even one with his status. Chapter 3893. When Kang Shinmu came out of the cultivation pagoda, his cultivation had already reached the 7th level of the Dragon Ascension realm. His entire person seemed to have taken on a new look. He was filled with unprecedented power, and with the effect of the devouring power, Kang Shinmu was sure that even if he encountered a peak-level earth demon, there wouldn't be any problems. He remembered that when he was still in the Jiang clan, he had encountered Jiang Yilei. Now, his strength had already reached Jiang Yilei's level, and with the talent of the devouring power, he might even be stronger than Jiang Yilei. Right now, my flaw is that I haven't cultivated a good enough dragon martial skill. Since that's the case, I only need to ask Shi Tao for one thing. Kang Shinmu pondered in his heart. His original goal in coming to Dragon Prison City was to join the Demon Hunters Association, and then continuously earn Demon Hunter points to exchange for some dragon martial skills. Unfortunately, his first test in the Demon Hunters Association was met with an accident. In fact, he didn't want to go to the Demon Hunters Association with others, but there were many solo Demon Hunter missions that required relatively high Demon Hunter points to be accepted. Therefore, for the time being, Kang Shinmu was unable to accept those solo Demon Hunter missions. Now that he had the Shi clan residence, things were different. Kang Shinmu didn't really want to owe others a favor, but this kind of thing, for Shi Tao, was only a matter of a word. Moreover, it could save Kang Shinmu a lot of time, so it was not a problem to thicken his skin and ask for it. The next day, under Shi Tao's guarantee, Kang Shinmu obtained the qualifications to accept a few solo Demon Hunter missions. However, whether it was Shi Tao, Shi Yueying, or Shi Yutong, they were all puzzled by Kang Shinmu's actions. Clearly, Kang Shinmu had just been injured, and should not have fully recovered. Yet, he wanted to do some solo Demon Hunter missions? Wasn't this courting death? Shi Yueying and Shi Yutong, on the other hand, very considerately expressed that they could go with Kang Shinmu to do Demon Hunter missions. This way, the safety and efficiency could be improved. Unfortunately, Kang Shinmu had his own secrets, and it wasn't convenient for him to let the 2 girls know about it, so he politely refused. From now on, there are still more than 5 months for me to cultivate. I need to at least break through to the Divine Martial Realm, and then cultivate 3 different types of dragon martial skills to a certain extent. Otherwise, I will definitely not be able to amaze the world in the clan martial competition. The 2 sisters, Shi Yueying and Shi Yutong, were considered mid-level talents in Dragon Prisoner City. If they were placed outside of Dragon Prisoner City like the Jiang clan, they would be considered top-notch talents. Other than the fact that they did not receive the Sky Dragon's blood essence, they were not inferior to Jiang Liuxue in every other aspect. Therefore, Kang Shinmu's current goal was to surpass Shi Yueying and Shi Yutong. As long as he could defeat the 2 sisters, Kang Shinmu would defeat Jiang Liuxue without any suspense. It should be known that the 2 sisters had cultivated many of the Shi clan's dragon martial skills. In terms of combat strength, they were definitely not inferior to Jiang Liuxue. Kang Shinmu first checked the list of dragon martial skills that could be exchanged in the Demon Hunter Association. With a glance, he saw a 4th-grade dragon martial skill, Magic Crystal. This was a body-refining dragon martial skill that was even more powerful than the Iron Blood dragon body. If he could successfully cultivate it, it would be of great significance to Kang Shinmu. Furthermore, its cultivation method was similar to the Iron Blood dragon body. It could be cultivated using self-mutilation. For Kang Shinmu, this was undoubtedly the most suitable dragon martial skill. Once the magic crystal and the iron blood dragon body reached the earth level, purple magic crystals would freely form on the surface of Kang Shinmu's divine dragon body. The defense of these purple magic crystals was extremely terrifying. If I want to exchange for a 4th grade dragon martial skill, I would need 100,000 demon hunter points. Currently, the solo demon hunter missions that I can complete only give me about 100 demon hunter points. Those demon beasts with high rewards are too strong. I can't deal with them alone, Kang Shinmu continued to ponder. 100,000 demon hunter points required him to continuously complete 1,000 solo demon hunter missions. If it was simply killing 1,000 demon beasts with similar cultivation, it would only take him 1 or 2 months to complete. However, the problem now was that the targets of these demon hunter missions were not concentrated in one place. It would take him a lot of time just to travel. Therefore, Kang Shinmu began to consider other ways. Otherwise, according to this situation, even if he waited until the clan martial competition began, he was afraid that he would only be able to start cultivating this 4th grade dragon martial skill and wouldn't have the time to level it up. This magic crystal was still a relatively cheap type. After all, there weren't many people who cultivated the body refining type dragon martial skill. Moreover, Kang Shinmu's demon hunter speed was guaranteed. If it was a group of demon beasts, it would be very beneficial for Kang Shinmu. This was because he could continuously devour and increase his own resistance through the power of devouring. In the future, it would be much easier to deal with the same type of demon beasts. Let me see, other than some ordinary solo demon hunter missions, there are also some missions that require submission of specific materials. Kang Shinmu studied the Demon Hunter Union's mission list. He discovered that other than hunting demon beasts, there were also missions that required direct submission of materials. The quantity of these materials required was relatively large, and they could be submitted repeatedly. For example, the Demon Hunter Union needed the horn of a flame magic beast. This material could be obtained from a type of demon beast that lived in a group called the Flame Magic Beast. Every Flame Magic Beast horn submitted would give 150 demon hunter points. The key point was that the Flame Magic Beast lived in a group, so there were very few dragon warriors who would have any ideas about it. This was even more so for Kang Shinmu to act alone. Kang Shinmu accepted a few missions to kill the demon beasts in the Lava Mountain Range from the solo demon hunter mission list. Then, he prepared to continue heading to the Lava Mountain Range to find the Flame Magic Beasts group and hunt them on a large scale. Only a dragon warrior like him, who possessed the power of devouring, would dare to think of such a thing. Otherwise, unless one's cultivation was overwhelming, other dragon warriors would be courting death by provoking the Flame Magic Beast group. Even some divine martial realm dragon warriors wouldn't dare to provoke them. Everything is ready, let's go. Jiang Shenwu didn't even need to bring any healing pills, because his own devouring power was the best healing power. As long as he had enough Yao Dan for him to devour, he could recover from any serious injury, even including a fatal injury like a dragon's tail being torn off, which was fatal to other dragon warriors. Lava Mountain Range. Kang Shinmu had met with an accident here. However, Lu Yuefei, Kong Ci, and Xiao Ying should have already escaped. If they stayed in the Lava Mountain Range, they would have been found and killed by Shi Tao's men. So, he wasn't worried about encountering any accidents. Chapter 3894. The fiery demon beasts lived in the depths of the Circuit Mountain Range. It was said that they were a very large group of Yao beasts and were divided into many small tribes. The strongest in the tribe was a heavenly Yao, and it was not a low-level one. Its strength was definitely not weaker than the bone-piercing winter spider that Kang Shinmu had encountered in the Jiang clan. However, Kang Shinmu would not provoke the fiery demon beast king. Even a small tribe of fiery demon beasts would have at least 100 of them. If Kang Shinmu's operation went smoothly, he would be able to kill them all in a day. Moreover, in such a small tribe of fiery demon beasts, there would not be any strong existences. At most, 1 or 2 peak Earth Yao would be considered strong. Killing 100 fiery demon beasts would give him 100 fiery demon beast horns, which would be 15,000 points. If everything went smoothly, he would only need a few days to accumulate 100,000 points. Jiang Shenwu was all alone. He transformed into a black dragon and soared into the sky, flying rapidly in the direction of the circuit-broken mountain range. Because he was all alone, it wasn't appropriate to hire a beast carriage, and he didn't want to pay for it. As for the energy consumed by flying, he could simply consume a Yao core to replenish it. Therefore, this was the advantage of moving alone. He could move freely and would not expose some of his secrets. It was very convenient. The circuit mountain range was filled with hot lava. Scorching hot air rose everywhere. When Jiang Shenwu arrived at this place again, he returned to his human form at the entrance of the fused mountain range. He did not swagger in like last time. Although Lu Yufei and his gang were definitely not here, there might be other groups. If he was too high profile before he had the strength, it would eventually lead to some unsolvable problems. On one of the paths leading up the circuit mountain range, there were many dragon warriors walking in groups. When they saw Kang Xinmu, they were a little puzzled. Why did this young man come to the circuit mountain range alone and even go deeper into the circuit mountain range? Little brother, what kind of Yao beasts are you here to kill? Why don't you come with us? We can take care of each other. Otherwise, with your small body, I'm afraid you'll die in the hands of the demonic beasts in less than 2 hours, haha. From time to time, there would be people extending olive branches to Kang Xinmu. They all felt that Kang Xinmu was courting death by entering the rusted mountain range alone. Moreover, they were all very surprised that there was actually such a young 7th-tier dragon ascending realm youth. Some of them sincerely wanted to help Kang Xinmu, so that he wouldn't die in there. However, most of them wanted to recruit Kang Xinmu into their team, so that they could use him as cannon fodder to explore the path and reduce the danger they were facing. Kang Xinmu naturally knew the mentality of these people like the back of his hand. Moreover, he did not need their help, so he did not respond to anyone's invitation and embarked on the journey to the fused mountain range alone. It was the same even when he was at the Shi family mansion. When Shi Yutong and Shi Yueying heard that Kang Xinmu wanted to go alone, they were equally worried. Unfortunately, under Kang Xinmu's insistence, the two sisters could only give up on the idea of following Kang Xinmu and let Kang Xinmu go alone. You really don't know what's good for you. An elegant youth with a head of long blue hair was a little annoyed by Kang Xinmu's disregard, but he did not say anything. He only turned back to his team and cursed under his breath, a stupid kid like this, thinking he's so strong. There are people dying in the rusted mountain range every day, how stupid. Let's discuss how we're going to kill that marked fiery demon beast. A burly middle-aged man and his team said in a low voice, fiery demon beasts are Yao beasts that live in packs. That marked fiery demon beast has a unique presence. If we see it, we will definitely be able to identify it. The key is how to lure that one fiery demon beast out. That fiery demon beast was marked because a young dragon warrior died in its hands in Dragon Prison City. After his death, the dragon warrior left behind a mark, so the dragon warrior's father wanted to avenge him. After all, the dragon warrior's father is just a merchant, not a dragon warrior, so this is the only way. And he wants us to capture it alive. That old man is not a dragon warrior. Even if we capture it alive and bring it back to him, what can he do to the fiery demon beast? Hee. The group discussed animatedly, but regarding the mission of killing the marked fiery demon beast, they already had the outline of a plan in their hearts before they came. Soon, a plan was formed. After the plan was set, the 7-people team followed closely behind Kang Xinmu and headed up the rusted mountain range. Kang Xinmu did not care about the other people's attempts to recruit him, nor did he care about their attitudes and words after he ignored them. He set foot on the rusted mountain range alone and headed straight for his destination. Other than wanting to kill the fiery demon beast and obtain its horn, he also accepted a few other missions to hunt Yao beasts in the rusted mountain range. Therefore, it was more appropriate for him to do the other missions first. After all, the other missions were much simpler. They only required him to hunt some earth-yao beasts that were alone or in small groups. For Kang Shinmu, it was not difficult at all. After spending a day, Kang Shinmu finished all the yao beasts that he needed to hunt. There were a total of 6 missions to hunt various yao beasts. After completing them, he would be able to obtain 500 to 600 yao beast hunting points. To him, it was better than nothing. The key was to hunt some yao beasts and obtain some yao cores. Although he had stored up quite a lot of yao cores, he was still worried. Therefore, he had to prepare more yao cores in preparation for the upcoming battle. After everything was settled, he decided on a plan to hunt the fiery demon beasts. First, of course, he had to find a small tribe of fiery demon beasts. A tribe of about 100 fiery demon beasts was about the same size. He could still handle it. First, he would lure out 1 or 2 fiery demon beasts. After killing them, he would obtain the effect of resisting the fiery demon beasts through his devouring power. After that, it would be much easier to deal with the fiery demon beasts. Finding a tribe of fiery demon beasts isn't difficult. Kang Shinmu took out a map from his chest. This map was a map of the rusted mountain range that was given to him by the Monster Hunter Association. There were some markings of the locations of some ferocious yao beasts. In addition, there were also the locations of the fiery demon beasts tribes. There were some records, but they were not very accurate. After all, these yao beasts were not inanimate and could move. This map could only be used as a reference. When he followed the map and found the closest fiery demon beast tribe, he found that this place was still the location of the fiery demon beast tribe. It was not different from the markings on the map, which made him sigh in relief. Chapter 3895. This was a tribe of about 100 flame magic beasts, the strongest of which was probably at the peak of the Earth Demon realm, equivalent to the 9th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm. For Kang Shinmu, it was still possible to completely nibble away at this flame magic beast tribe. But now that there were already people attacking this flame magic beast tribe, Kang Shinmu did not act impulsively, but hid to one side, ready to wait and see. If there was a more easy way to get the horn of the flame magic beast, then Kang Shinmu would not hesitate to do it. Of course, he could not do something like killing other dragon martial artists for this. However, no matter what happened, there was no problem in watching from the side first, so that he could avoid making mistakes in his actions. Kang Shinmu found that it was a monster hunter team of 7 people, and one of them had a familiar face. It was an elegant young man with long blue hair, who seemed to have invited Kang Shinmu to join their team when they first entered the lava mountain range, but unfortunately Kang Shinmu did not pay attention to them. Unexpectedly, they also came to hunt flame magic beasts. Their target seems to be just one of the flame demon beasts in this tribe. It should be a special monster hunter mission. Kang Shinmu pondered. He did not wait too long, and soon decided to act. Whether the other party recognized him or not, he came to kill the flame magic beasts. As long as the other party did not hinder him from killing the flame magic beasts, there was no problem. Moreover, if he appeared and attacked the flame magic beast tribe, it could also reduce the pressure on the other party. Of course, for Kang Shinmu himself, it could also be a lot easier, because most of the attention of the entire flame magic beast tribe was focused on the monster hunter team. In that case, let's do it. Kang Shinmu transformed into a dragon, directly attracting the attention of 2 flame magic beasts in the flame magic beast tribe, and then he deliberately provoked the 2 flame magic beasts, attracting them to a place far away from the main battlefield. These 2 flame magic beasts were around the 7th layer of the Earth Demon realm, and for Kang Shinmu, they were not much of a threat at all. It just so happened that he could use them to devour and absorb their power, so that Kang Shinmu's body would have a certain resistance to the flame power of the flame magic beasts. Kill. Kang Shinmu did not hesitate, and the black dragon rushed forward, like a black lightning bolt, from the nearby lava mountain range, and quickly grabbed one of the flame magic beasts. The black devouring power on the dragon claw constantly condensed, and then pierced into the hard hide of the flame magic beast. The devouring power eroded into the flame magic beast's flesh and life essence. To Kong Shinmu Beast Tribe Demon Beast, of Flame Demon Beast Beast, and Hunter Beast, Flame Magic Beasts Beast, and Flame Beast Beast Thousand Magic Beast Beast Tribe was Stage Demon, King Stage Monster Demon Stage. Stage of Beast Demon Stage Wen Kong Shin, Yang Beast Tribe, Beast Monster Stage of Magic Beast Stage Beast First Stage Demon Yang was Beast Beast, King Tribe King Stage, Demon Clan Tribe Clan 1000 That kid, isn't he the guy who went up the mountain alone before? It's really that little bastard who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. But it seems that his fighting strength is not bad, he can actually deal with 2 flame magic beasts of the same realm alone. Stop talking nonsense, shut up for lousy. First find the marked flame magic beast, and finish the task. The burly man and the blue-haired elegant young man in the team shouted at the same time, making everyone focus their attention. Now they were besieged by nearly 100 flame magic beasts. Although most of them were at the peak of the 9th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm, they could still die in such a situation. After all, there were too many of them. No matter how strong they were, there would be times when their physical strength was exhausted. They must capture the task target before their physical strength was exhausted. If they could capture him alive, they would capture him alive. If they couldn't capture him alive, they would kill him and bring him back. They mainly focused on the demon hunting task, and did not pay too much attention to Kong Shinmu, which was naturally a good thing for Kong Shinmu. Soon, he completely devoured one of the flame magic beast of the 7th layer of the earth demon beast. The flesh and life essence of this flame magic beast had completely dried up and disappeared without a trace. It turned into the purest power and was devoured by Kong Shinmu. Then the other flame magic beast continued to attack Kong Shinmu's black dragon body. Unfortunately, in the process of devouring, the attack of this flame magic beast could be said to be completely insignificant. If he only suffered a little bit of damage, Kong Shinmu would be able to recover completely in an instant because of devouring the flesh and life essence. If they wanted to kill Kong Shinmu, it was impossible for a dragon martial artist or demon beast of the same realm. Both of them. Kong Shinmu quickly killed the 2 flame magic beasts and took away their monster cores and flame magic beast horns. When he looked up again, he found that the 7 people of the demon hunting squad had all transformed into divine dragon form, and all of them had good dragon weapons. Their battle strength was much stronger than before. 7 experts of the 9th layer of the Dragon Ascension realm joining hands to destroy a flame magic beast tribe was certainly not a problem, but they would also have to pay a considerable price. And the goal of their trip seemed to be just one of the flame magic beast. Soon, the demon hunting squad captured one of the 8th layer of the earth demon beast alive, and then began to retreat. This group of flame magic beasts naturally would not let them go, so they rushed forward from the rear, a pair of flame wings grew on their backs, and chased after the 7 divine dragons. Unfortunately, the difference in speed between the 2 sides was too great. These 7 demon hunting dragon martial artists were professional demon hunting dragon martial artists, and they had cultivated a lot of movement-type dragon martial skills. In this situation, they could escape the fastest. Not long after, the 7 members of the demon hunting squad had already disappeared without a trace. Kong Shinmu ignored them and continued to hunt the sparse number of flame magic beasts in front of him. Although he chased a part of them, the rest was enough for Kong Shinmu to deal with. At least in a short period of time, it was impossible for Kong Shinmu to completely eliminate the other side. Fortunately, Kong Shinmu was not very eye-catching, and did not attract the attention of the leader of the flame magic beasts. He just fought with some small fries on the edge, and at the same time hid very well, and did not appear in front of a large number of flame magic beasts. Otherwise, the group of flame magic beasts would have directly pounced on Kong Shinmu. After all, in the eyes of the flame magic beasts, all humans were in the same group. In any case, they were enemies, and they must all be killed. Kang Shinmu hid and hunted the flame magic beasts, but he did not know that the 7 people who had flown away had quietly returned and were hiding in the boulder forest. I want to see how this kid dies, humph. Chapter 3896. Kang Shinmu did not know that someone was secretly watching him. After he killed 2 flame magic beasts and obtained the horns of the flame magic beasts, he had already devoured a lot of the power of the flame magic beasts, and his body had produced antibodies against the flame magic beasts. If the flame magic beasts relied on their innate power to deal with Kang Shinmu, it would not have much effect, unless the opponent's realm was much higher than Kang Shinmu's. In this small tribe of flame magic beasts, even the leader of the flame magic beasts was only at the peak of Earth Demon, and had not reached the level of Sky Demon. Moreover, the bloodline of the flame magic beasts was not pure and thick. Compared to the dragon warriors, it was only at the level between an ordinary dragon and a true dragon. Therefore, Kang Shinmu was not worried that he would encounter any danger here. As long as he was not surrounded by a large number of flame magic beasts, there would be no problem. After the monster hunter team that attacked the small tribe of flame magic beasts left, Kang Shinmu moved more carefully, in order to avoid being surrounded by a large number of flame magic beasts, and now he was very careful, only attracting 1 or 2 flame magic beasts at a time. Although the efficiency was relatively low, it was better than safety. However, after Kang Shinmu killed about 10 flame magic beasts, the situation was not right. On one hand, this small tribe of flame magic beasts realized that the tribe members were quickly disappearing. On the other hand, the elegant young man with long blue hair was secretly moving, deliberately leading the flame magic beasts towards Kang Shinmu. Kang Shinmu now had a lot of horns of flame magic beasts, just from the perspective of benefits. As long as Kang Shinmu died here, their monster hunter team would be able to get a lot of spoils of war for no reason. It was definitely not a wasted trip. As for letting them deal with Kang Shinmu, it was impossible. After all, if the other party escaped, they would be in trouble, and would be wanted by the Monster Hunter Union, which was not a fun thing. According to the rules and regulations of the Monster Hunter Union, there were conditions for the battle between the dragon warriors, and as for the place where the demon beasts roamed freely, fighting between the monster hunters was completely prohibited. As long as there was evidence, the party who took the initiative to fight would be wanted by the Monster Hunter Union. No matter how much power they had, they would not be taken seriously by the Monster Hunter Union. Therefore, they could only resort to such underhanded means. However, he did not know that this method was not a problem for Kang Shinmu. Although there were 10 flame demons charging towards Kang Shinmu all of a sudden, he did not panic. He transformed into a black dragon and instantly activated the roaring sky dragon claw, piercing a hole in the body of one of the flame demons. The devouring power corroded his body, continuously devouring his opponent's flesh and life essence. As for the rest of the flaming demon beasts, they flapped their flaming wings, and the boundless power of flames swept towards Kang Shinmu, as if they wanted to roast him. The sky was filled with raging flames, and it completely blocked the line of sight of the group of dragon hunter warriors who were watching from afar. In the midst of the endless raging flames, Kang Shinmu felt as if he was wandering in cool seawater, and he did not feel any discomfort. His whole body was filled with resistance to the power of flames, and in the process of constantly devouring the flaming demon beast's flesh and blood essence, he was almost immune to the power of flames for a short period of time. However, after 3 to 5 breaths, the first flaming demon beast was completely devoured, and its entire body turned into ashes. The monster core in its body was devoured by Kang Shinmu, and then turned into pure energy that integrated into Kang Shinmu's black dragon body, allowing him to maintain his strongest combat power. Very quickly, the second and third flaming demon beasts were devoured one after another, and these flaming demon beasts felt fear, and immediately screamed. In the process of being devoured, it was impossible for the flaming demon beasts to scream for help, because the erosion of the devouring power made it impossible for them to make any sound. But now, there were too many flaming demon beasts surrounding Kang Shinmu, and the flaming demon beasts that were not devoured directly screamed for help. More and more flaming demon beasts attacked the corner where Kang Shinmu was located. Even the leader of the flaming demon beasts at the peak of the Earth Demon Beast realm flew towards Kang Shinmu, because this small tribe of flaming demon beasts that had just been attacked were already in a very angry and anxious state. Now that there was a dragon warrior coming to make trouble, how could they easily let them kill the flaming demon beasts and leave? More and more flaming demon beasts besieged. Jiang Shenwu was not the slightest bit afraid. He transformed into a black dragon and wandered around in the raging flames. He relied on his devouring power to constantly kill the surrounding flame demon beasts. Soon, more than 10 flame demon beasts had died under his devouring. In order to take revenge, the flaming demon beasts advanced wave after wave, even more fearless, and launched an attack on Kang Shinmu. They hoped to use the raging flames to roast the black dragon in front of them into charcoal. The hunter squad of the blue-haired elegant young man, who was watching from the side, did not know the situation of the battle at all, because there were burning flames everywhere. But according to the situation, that kid will definitely not be able to hold on. Even he himself will not be able to withstand such a burning attack for too long. It has already been a quarter of an hour. If he is still alive, wouldn't he be stronger than me? The elegant young man said indifferently, without the slightest doubt that Kang Shinmu would die in the hands of the flaming demon beasts under such an attack. Not only because Kang Shinmu ignored him before, but also because he wanted to kill Kang Shinmu so that he could obtain many of his properties, including the flaming demon beast's horn, monster core, and so on. After all, Kang Shinmu was in the hands of the flaming demon beasts on the surface, and it had nothing to do with him. How is that possible? I feel that the kid is definitely dead. Now it's just the group of flaming demon beasts venting their anger. After all, this small tribe of flaming demon beasts has suffered a lot today. The burly middle-aged man in the team shook his head and said, "It's a pity that if we let the group of flaming demon beasts vent their anger like this, I'm afraid that the things we want will be destroyed in the raging flames." In his hand, there was a flaming demon beast that had been captured alive, but this flaming demon beast was now unconscious. There was nothing special about this flaming demon beast, but it had killed a certain dragon warrior before, so it was marked. Everyone stared nervously at the raging flames in the field. After about an hour, they found that the raging flames in the field finally showed signs of extinguishing, but the scene that appeared in front of them surprised them. Except for the burnt rocks, dry branches, and charcoal, there was nothing left. Where was the dragon warrior kid's corpse? Where was the group of flaming demon beasts? Why did they all disappear? Chapter 3897. A small tribe of flame magic beasts had about 100 flame magic beasts. If Kang Shinmu were to destroy them in a day, he would be able to obtain about 100 flame magic beast horns. Kang Shinmu fought with the small tribe of flame magic beasts until the end. Naturally, he discovered the hunter squad that was peeping at him from the side. However, he ignored them because there was no need to clash with them. Moreover, he had no evidence to prove that the other party wanted to lure the flame magic beasts to kill him. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to show himself. He could just leave. With the help of the raging flames, Kang Shinmu killed all the flame magic beasts. After taking the beast cores and flame magic beasts' horns, he directly left, not letting his figure be exposed in front of that group of people. When they came back to their senses, the raging flames were extinguished, and Kang Shinmu had already left. Half a month later, Kang Shinmu once again returned to the dragon prison city. During this period of time, he continuously killed flame magic beasts in the lava mountain range and seized their horns. In total, he obtained more than 1,000 flame magic beasts' horns. All of them were brought back to the Hunter Union and exchanged for hunter points. In this half a month, he hunted flame magic beasts and seized their horns. In addition to the other hunter missions he had accepted, he had obtained a total of nearly 180,000 hunter points. As for the magic crystal that he originally wanted to cultivate, the grade 4 dragon martial technique, he could exchange for it with 100,000 Monster Hunter points. With the remaining 80,000 Hunter points, Kang Shinmu decided to exchange them for spirit herbs. However, even with 80,000 Hunter points, the medicinal pellets he exchanged for wouldn't have any miraculous effects. They wouldn't even be able to help Kang Shinmu advance by one stage. After all, it was very difficult for him to advance his cultivation. Moreover, the profound spirit gathering pill and Chitian spirit grass that he had previously consumed couldn't be exchanged with Hunter points. If he wanted to obtain medicinal pellets and spirit herbs of this level, he definitely wouldn't be able to rely on hard work alone. If the price of the profound spirit gathering pill was converted into Hunter points, it would be enough for Kang Shinmu to continue working hard for at least a year, just like what he had done in this half a month. Magic Crystal. I've finally managed to exchange for the body refining dragon technique. Kang Shinmu exchanged for the Dragon Martial Technique cultivation manual with the magic crystals and was immediately excited. However, the member of the Demon Hunters Association who gave him the cultivation manual secretly sneered. After all, this was just a body-tempering dragon martial skill. Nowadays, there were very few dragon warriors who practiced body-refining dragon martial skills. Because of this, the Magic Crystal Cultivation Manual was so cheap. It only required 100,000 Monster Hunter points. Other types of dragon martial skills, whether it was attack or defense, or movement-type dragon martial skills, required at least 200,000 Monster Hunter points to exchange for a grade 5-1. Not to mention, the magic crystal was of the 4th grade. Although it was a grade 4 dragon martial technique, the value of a magic crystal was only a third or fourth of that of other dragon martial techniques. However, it did not matter to Kang Shinmu. Because of the existence of the devouring power, the body-refining dragon martial technique was the most suitable for him. After obtaining the magic crystal cultivation manual, Kang Shinmu planned to practice hard. If he wanted to practice the magic crystal, the best way was to practice self-mutilation, just like when he practiced the Iron Blood Dragon body. However, if he wanted to find a teammate like Jiang Yuning, it would not be so easy. Right, Shi Yutong or Shi Yueying. They should be able to, but it depends on whether they have time or not. Kang Shinmu thought to himself as he rushed back to the Shi clan residence. One day later. In the cultivation tower of the Shi clan estate, Jiang Shenwu, accompanied by a young girl, chose one of the cultivation rooms that was closest to the innermost. The young girl was Shi Yueying with a cold expression. Go in. Shi Yueying opened the cultivation room and let Kang Shinmu step into it. Since he had already explained everything in advance, as soon as he stepped into the cultivation room, Kang Shinmu directly transformed into his black dragon body and curled up in the cultivation room as if he was willing to be beaten. However, his spirit was very vigorous, and it was obvious that he had an extremely strong life force. Shi Yueying followed him into the cultivation room and closed the door tightly. Although she had explained everything clearly before she came, Shi Yueying still frowned slightly. You're not lying to me, are you? Can you really rely on devouring the inner cores of demonic beasts to recover quickly and achieve the effect of cultivating the body-tempering dragon martial technique? Don't worry. What good will it do me if I lie to you? Just come and hurt me. Kang Shinmu's black dragon body said in a muffled voice. Countless monster cores had been prepared. As long as he was injured, he would start devouring them. These monster cores were basically the monster cores of the flaming magic beasts he killed in the lava mountain range half a month ago. There were more than 1,000 of them, which should be enough to cultivate magic crystals. In the next moment, Shi Yueying turned into an ice divine dragon that was more than 30 feet long. A gust of cold wind suddenly swept through the entire cultivation room. The originally warm cultivation room seemed to have fallen into winter at this moment. Wind and snow drifted and swept away, and waves of ice crystals suddenly covered the black dragon body that Kang Shinmu had transformed into. Falling sun snow. Shi Yueying's dragon martial technique instantly erupted. Blood of the storm suddenly fell and covered the entire cultivation room. Even the power of the cultivation room's magic formation was condensed into ice and snow, falling on the black dragon body. Falling Sun Snow was a level 4 attack-type dragon martial technique. It was a powerful dragon martial technique inherited from the Shi family mansion. Moreover, Shi Yueying had now cultivated it to the earth level and was only a step away from the terrifying level of the dragon level. The cultivation of the dragon martial technique, from the human level to the earth level, and then from the dragon level to the heaven level, made a world of difference in the cultivation of the dragon martial technique. When the falling sun snow was used, Kang Shinmu's body looked as if it had been cut by the condensed ice and snow. Deep bloody wounds appeared on his body, but no dragon blood flowed out, because the wounds were immediately frozen by the ice and snow. As expected of. Shi Yueying saw that her dragon martial technique could only leave bloody marks on Kang Shinmu's body and could not injure him. She could not help but be surprised, but on second thought, it made sense. If not for the fact that Kang Shinmu had definitely cultivated a body-refining martial technique, how could he have withstood the siege of Lu Yufei and his group? But the dragon tail had already grown out. Was this the effect of the body-refining dragon-type martial technique? Shi Yueying did not think too much about it and quickly used the falling sun snow. Countless ice and snow saber lights flashed in the entire cultivation room, and more bloody marks appeared on Kang Shinmu's black dragon body, as if he was being dissected. No one knew that there were actually two people doing such things in the cultivation room. In fact, the two of them did not even tell Holy Dragon Shi Tao about this. Chapter 3898. The Shi clan's residence. In the cultivation room of the cultivation tower, Kang Shinmu and Shi Yueying had been cultivating for 7 consecutive days. During these 7 days, Shi Yueying constantly used various dragon techniques to attack Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. In the beginning, she only managed to seriously injure Kang Shinmu after several attacks, allowing the body-tempering dragon technique to improve a little. However, as time passed, Shi Yueying's dragon technique also improved as she continued to use it. Moreover, as she gained a better understanding of Kang Shinmu's black dragon body, her attacks became more and more accurate, and the damage became faster and faster. In 7 days, Kang Shinmu devoured a total of nearly 100 monster cores of the flame demon beasts before he could fully recover. After all, he had now cultivated the dragon technique of the mana crystal body. While he had become stronger than before, he needed more energy to recover through devouring power. After 7 days, Kang Shinmu's mana crystal body had finally reached the level of the human tier. The overall defense of his black dragon body had increased by 3 to 4 times compared to before he had cultivated the mana crystal body. If he raised it to the earth tier, the gap would be even greater. Unfortunately, it was not that easy to cultivate the mana crystal body to the earth tier. It was already good enough that his mana crystal body had reached the human tier in just 7 days. As a result, Shi Yueying discovered that her various methods were useless against Kang Shinmu. No matter what methods she used, they couldn't cause much damage to Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. They could only leave some shallow scratches. However, after 7 days of continuous release of power, she found that she was becoming more and more proficient in using the power within her body. She was also more proficient in using the various dragon techniques. Although she was called over by Kang Shinmu to help cultivate the mana crystal body, she might have gained something in the process. In fact, if she wanted to achieve this kind of cultivation effect outside, not only would she encounter a lot of danger, but she would also not be as efficient. For Shi Yueying, continuously releasing the dragon martial skill for 7 days was like training outside for a month. Her familiarity with each of the dragon skills increased as she continued to use them. Some of the human-level dragon skills directly leveled up to the earth-level dragon skills. However, her best skill, Sunlit Snowfall, was still at the earth level. It was still a step away from reaching the dragon level. However, he was just a little bit away. If I work harder, I might be able to obtain the first dragon martial skill to reach the dragon level. Shi Yueying began to like this kind of cultivation method. Kang Shinmu became her target, constantly withstanding her attacks, allowing her to familiarize herself with her dragon martial skill. In this process, it could be said that both of them had improved, and it had a very good training effect for both of them. In Shi Yueying's eyes, Kang Shinmu had already become her exclusive sparring partner. This was especially so after Kang Shinmu's mana crystal body reached the human level. Her ordinary methods were actually unable to injure Kang Shinmu severely. Even Sunlit Snowfall, which was a dragon technique that gathered all the frost energy in her body, had to be used several times before she could leave a bone-deep wound on Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. Furthermore, she had to specifically attack the same spot. So, the body-tempering dragon technique is actually so powerful. It's a pity that it's too difficult to cultivate it. Shi Yueying shook her head, a hint of admiration appearing on her cold face. Jiang Shenwu possessed the ability to devour Yao cores to restore his dragon body. This was an advantage that he possessed, but just by relying on this, there was simply no way for him to cultivate a body-refining dragon-type martial technique through self-mutilation. The most important thing was still to have a strong willpower. Otherwise, a single heavy injury would be enough to make him wish he were dead. During these 7 days, Jiang Shenwu had been heavily injured at least 100 times, and every single time, he was injured in a different place. That kind of pain was definitely not something an ordinary person could endure. Kang Shinmu, let's continue. Shi Yueying's cold face was filled with hope. Although Kang Shinmu's mana crystal body had reached the human level, she knew that Kang Shinmu would definitely not be satisfied with that. Why do I feel that you're even more eager than me? Kang Shinmu said lazily. He just lay in the cultivation room, moving from time to time so that Shi Yueying could attack different places. When he was seriously injured, he would devour a monster core to completely recover his black dragon body, and then continue. If it wasn't for the bone-deep pain when he was attacked and injured, Kang Shinmu felt that this cultivation method was simply too easy. He just needed to lie in the cultivation room lazily. Unfortunately, compared to that kind of pain, most dragon martial artists would still choose to cultivate seriously. Of course. My setting sun snow falling dragon martial technique will soon reach the dragon level. When that time comes, I can seriously injure you with one move. Are you afraid? At this point, Shi Yueying had a proud look on her face. This was something she was proud of. To be able to cultivate the dragon martial skill to the dragon level at such a young age was not something an ordinary person could do. Even in the entire Shi clan residence, there were only a handful of people who could do this. Although she had only obtained the true dragon level inheritance blood essence, it did not mean that her talent was lacking. What's there to be afraid of? As long as you don't kill me with one move, it's fine. Kang Shinmu still said lazily. He was more than happy to be heavily injured in one move. This way, he could cultivate the magic crystals at a faster speed. Logically speaking, he could get those stronger dragon martial artists to do this kind of thing, but on one hand, the other party might not be able to control their strength well and really kill Kang Shinmu. On the other hand, Kang Shinmu did not want the news of him cultivating in this way to spread. Shi Yueying was somewhat familiar with Kang Shinmu. It could be said that they had gone through life and death together, so he could trust her. Moreover, Shi Yueying did not need to pay for it. It was a win-win situation for both sides. If he went outside to hire someone to do it, he would have to spend money. To Kang Shinmu, it was not worth it. Shi Yueying was not weak, so she could deal with Kang Shinmu. Then let's continue. Shi Yueying was full of expectations for the dragon martial technique to improve, so she continued to attack Kang Shinmu's black dragon body. The power of ice and snow howled in the entire cultivation room. Due to the long period of time, a layer of frost formed on the walls of the cultivation room, not melting for a long time. 3 days later. The saber light condensed from ice and snow whistled down, instantly cutting Kang Shinmu's black dragon body into 3 pieces. At this moment, Shi Yueying's dragon martial technique reached the dragon level. However, Shi Yueying did not have time to feel the changes in her body. She turned pale with fright. "Hey, Kang Shinmu, are you alright?" Chapter 3899. Don't worry, I'm fine. Kang Shinmu's voice could be heard. Then, he devoured the two monster cores of the flame magic beasts, continuously transforming the earth demonic power in the monster cores into his own flesh and blood essence. Then, Kang Shinmu's body, which had been broken into 3 parts, gradually connected together. The ice crystal fragments were quickly melted and expelled, and the broken flesh gradually joined together. Amazing. Seeing this, Shi Yueying's beautiful eyes lit up. "Is this how you recovered your dragon tail? We thought you were seriously injured, but it's no different from an ordinary injury. You can even recover from such an injury. Your recovery ability is too strong." Now, she still did not know the specific effects of Kang Shinmu's devouring power. She only knew that it could be used to devour monster cores to heal. As for the devouring power, after devouring the opponent, it could improve oneself, or temporarily increase one's resistance to a certain power. Shi Yueying did not know these things, because there was no need to know. Anyway, the other party could not see the other 2 characteristics of Kang Shinmu's devouring power in the self-harming cultivation room, so there was no need to take the initiative to say it. Moreover, Shi Yueying did not ask. Not long after, Kang Shinmu's black dragon body was completely recovered. At this moment, Shi Yueying finally had the time to feel the changes in her dragon technique. After advancing from the earth level to the dragon level, Kanyang Snowfall's lethality had increased by at least 3 times. Her combat power had increased tremendously. Now, although she was only at the 8th level of the Dragon Ascension realm, she would not lose to a dragon martial artist at the peak of the Dragon Ascension realm. She could even compete with the inheritors of the heavenly dragon blood essence of the same realm. This was all because she had cultivated a dragon martial skill to the dragon level. The changes it brought to her were too great. In that case, I'll work harder. My magic crystals can also improve faster. Kang Shinmu smiled at Shi Yueying. Shi Yueying did not say anything more. The next moment, she activated Sunfall Snow again. Countless ice crystals on the cold body of the ice divine dragon turned into saber light under the setting sun, and once again cut Kang Shinmu's black dragon body into 3 parts. This was change. There was a world of difference between Earth rank and Dragon rank dragon martial skills. If I can cultivate my magic crystal to the dragon rank, even a heavenly dragon blood essence inheritor won't be able to do anything to me. However, I'm still a little far from the dragon rank. I might as well raise my cultivation to the divine martial realm first. Kang Shinmu shook his head. Time flew by. There were only 3 months left before the start of the clan martial competition in Dragon Prison City. At this moment, in the cultivation room of the cultivation tower of the Shi clan's mansion, Kang Shinmu was enduring Shi Yueying's continuous attacks. Finally, he advanced the magic crystal body refining dragon-type martial skill to the earth realm. Now, as long as Kang Shinmu was willing, his black dragon body could be instantly covered with a layer of purple magical crystals. He would have a defense that could block thousands of soldiers and horses. Even Shi Yueying's dragon-level dragon martial technique would not be able to break through it. This layer of purple magical crystals was the defensive layer that Kang Shinmu cultivated. Even if he was attacked when he was defenseless, this layer of purple magical crystals would automatically appear to block the attack for him. Unless he actively suppressed the appearance of the purple magical crystals, it would not appear. This situation would only appear when he was self-harming. Otherwise, Kang Shinmu would not actively suppress the purple magical crystals. If he did not actively suppress it during self-harming cultivation, even Shi Yueying would need to spend an hour to completely injure Kang Shinmu. This would not be efficient. I've used up all the monster cores of the flaming demon beasts. It seems that I have to stop this cultivation. How's the improvement of your dragon martial skill? Kang Shinmu asked Shi Yueying. Apart from Kanyang Shualu reaching the dragon rank, the others have also reached the earth rank. It's a pity that Kanyang Shualu did not improve much after reaching the dragon rank. There's still a long way to go before she can reach the strongest heaven-ranked dragon martial skill. Shi Yueying shook her head. Next, I plan on going out to train. 3 months later, when the clan martial competition begins, I'll come back. Kang Shinmu said in a deep voice. Clan martial competition, are you going to participate in it? Hearing this, Shi Yueying felt strange. You're also a member of the clan? Kang Shinmu. Oh right, are you a member of the Jiang clan? Why did you come to Dragon Prison City to train? There are some internal reasons for the Jiang clan. I want to get first place in this year's clan martial competition. Kang Shinmu clenched his fists, so, there are still 3 months left. I can't slack off in the slightest. Even if it's just the clan martial competition, it won't be easy to get first place. Even the top 5 will definitely be taken by the inheritors of the heavenly dragon blood essence. Shi Yueying smiled coldly, don't think too much about it. Although I don't know what's going on between you and the Jiang clan, there are some things that don't need to be forced. Right now, with your strength and talent, even in Dragon Prison City, you have a bright future. There's no need to risk your life in a short period of time just to perform in a mere clan martial competition. I know what I'm doing. During this period of time, thank you for accompanying me in training the magic crystals. Kang Shinmu said respectfully to Shi Yueying. No problem, I've also improved. It's all thanks to you. Shi Yueying shook her head. Since you're leaving, remember to bring more monster cores. Don't die outside. If you encounter any great danger, just report the name of the Shi clan residents. With this, as long as you're not a fugitive like before, they'll most likely give you some face. Shi Yueying took out a token that looked like a medal and handed it to Kang Shinmu. This was the symbol of the Shi clan residents. Wearing this meant that he was a member of the Shi clan residents. Thank you. Kang Shinmu didn't refuse. Instead, he received the Shi clan medal and placed it in his bosom. Inadvertently, he touched the back of the girl's ice-cold hand. A wave of cold energy invaded and drilled into Kang Shinmu's body, causing him to frown. This wave of cold energy wasn't released by the girl, but came naturally. No matter who came into contact with the girl, they would be attacked by the cold energy. However, this cold energy wasn't harmful to the human body, it only made them shiver. Even Kang Shinmu felt a chill. This girl's talent seems to be unusual. Chapter 3900. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. Speaking of the net, to provide you with wonderful novels to read. Kang Shinmu remained calm and collected. After putting away the Shi clan medal, he bid farewell to the girl. The two of them had already reached a bottleneck in their dragon martial skill and would not be able to improve in a short period of time. Even if they used a self-mutilating cultivation method, it would not be that easy to raise their magic crystals. From the earth level to the dragon level was a transformation, and it was not easy to achieve. After spending so much time together, Shi Yueying had developed some feelings for Kang Shinmu. This kind of feeling could be called friendship. Shi Yueying was a little curious about Kang Shinmu. She was looking forward to his performance in the upcoming clan martial competition. However, that was all. After leaving the Shi clan's mansion, Kang Shinmu continued to the Demon Hunter Association to accept a solo demon hunter mission. This time, he could accept a more difficult mission because his strength was stronger than before. He could even deal with some of the weaker sky demons. All of this was because he had cultivated to the earth level's magic crystal. For ordinary dragon warriors, it was extremely difficult to cultivate a body-refining dragon martial skill. The main reason was that even if other dragon warriors cultivated a body-refining dragon martial skill, it would not be of much use. It was time-consuming and laborious, which was why they were too lazy to cultivate it. For ordinary dragon warriors, a defensive dragon martial skill was much more practical than a body-refining dragon martial skill. On one hand, a defensive dragon martial skill could match its own innate strength. On the other hand, a defensive dragon martial skill was 10 times easier to cultivate. As long as he continuously activated the defensive dragon martial skill to withstand the attacks, it would be fine. It was not like the body-refining type dragon martial technique, which could only be improved after being seriously injured. Without Jiang Shenwu's terrifying devouring and recovery ability, if other dragon martial artists wanted to cultivate the body-refining type dragon martial technique, they would need at least a year, even if they were to reach the Earth stage. The Earth-level magic crystal has already made my divine dragon body almost invincible against those of the same cultivation level. Some of the more difficult missions can also be accepted. Kang Xinmu glanced at the single monster hunting mission list and prepared to choose from it. The main reason he went out to hunt for demon cores this time was to hunt for some demon cores. At the same time, he wanted to earn as many demon hunter points as possible. If he kept saving, he might be able to exchange for an attack or movement type dragon martial skill in a few months. If he could exchange for a rank for attack or movement technique dragon martial technique, it would be a pretty good deal for Kang Xinmu. Of course, it was not so easy to exchange for a rank for attack and movement dragon martial technique. Not only did it require a large amount of demon hunter points, it also required outstanding contributions to the Demon Hunters Association, and to be recognized by the Demon Hunters Association. For the time being, Kang Xinmu did not think too much about it. In any case, there was no harm in having a lot of monster hunter points. The most important thing for him was to go out and hunt some monster beasts, and then obtain the monster cores. Now that the flame demon beast's demonic core had been used up, he only had 10 demonic cores left in case of emergencies. Therefore, he had to obtain more demonic cores before the 10 demonic cores were used up. To Kang Xinmu, demon cores were everything. Without demon cores, the strength of his devouring power would not be able to be displayed in battle, and he would not be able to engage in some intense, drawn-out battles. Very quickly, he chose 2 single monster hunting missions. The location of the missions was Dragon Bone Valley, more than 200 miles away from Dragon Prison City. According to the legends of Dragon Prison City, Dragon Bone Valley was the place where a huge battle had taken place. It was said that countless corpses of dragon warriors were buried in Dragon Bone Valley, and it was the place where the Yen Dragon Emperor's dynasty had once fought with other countries. The reason why Kang Xinmu accepted these 2 missions was obviously because of this. He was most interested in the corpses of divine dragons. Of course, the current Dragon Bone Valley was overgrown with weeds and trees, and it had become a paradise for the survival of monster beasts. The legendary corpses of dragon warriors had not been seen for a long time, and there was not even a single clue. Most importantly, even if there were any clues, it would be useless. Other than Kang Xinmu, it was useless for others to find the corpses of divine dragons. It was purely a thankless task, so no one would care about the rumors about the corpses of divine dragons. I hope this trip will be fruitful. Even if I don't, there are still many monster beasts in Dragon Bone Valley. At least I can hunt some and obtain some demon cores. Kang Xinmu set off for Dragon Bone Valley with the 10 fiery demon cores. After leaving Dragon Prison City, he transformed into a black dragon and flew towards Dragon Bone Valley, which was in the opposite direction of the lava mountain range. Along the way, he passed by several mountains and lakes, which were all Dragon Prison City's territory. In the meantime, Kang Xinmu saw many dragon warriors heading towards Dragon Bone Valley. Just like the previous time, there were even dragon warriors who came over to strike up a conversation, asking if he was heading to Dragon Bone Valley, and if he wanted a companion. Naturally, Kang Xinmu rejected all of them. The Demon Hunter mission he had accepted was a solo mission, and there was no need for a companion. Moreover, his battle style was very unique, and he did not wish to be seen by others. I've arrived at Dragon Bone Valley. When Kang Xinmu arrived at Dragon Bone Valley, he immediately sensed the sinister aura in the valley. The devouring power in his body stirred, reminding him that there were indeed many divine dragon skeletons buried in this place. It was a pity that the Dragon Bone Valley was now completely covered in greenery. It was impossible to dig 3 feet into the ground to find divine dragon skeletons. Moreover, there were monster beasts everywhere in the valley, and they would attack any dragon warrior they saw. There was no way he would have the time to dig deeper. I'll complete the 2 demon hunter missions first. I hope I can find 2 monster beasts that have just reached Heavenly Demon. Kang Shinmu thought to himself as he flew into Dragon Bone Valley and reverted to his human form. Flying in Dragon Bone Valley in the form of a divine dragon was too conspicuous. Not only would it easily attract some ferocious monster beasts, but it would also be easily seen by other dragon warriors. Kang Shinmu did not want to be so high profile. He only wanted to complete the demon hunter missions secretly, and then see if there was any way he could obtain some divine dragon corpses. Other than that, he did not want to cause any commotion. Dragon Bone Valley was lush, and countless monster beasts rested there. As dragon warriors needed the bodies of monster beasts as materials for their cultivation, Dragon Emperor Yen would not destroy such a habitat for monster beasts. Instead, he would use it as a resource for the development of dragon warriors. Kang Shinmu barged into Dragon Bone Valley, and was immediately surrounded by monster beasts. However, he did not feel nervous or afraid. Instead, he chased after the tracks left behind by a large monster beast in the forest, as if he was very familiar with the place. There was a hunter squad that saw his black dragon descending from the sky, and was immediately astonished. That kid is only at Dragon Bone 7th tier, right? How dare he land on Dragon Bone Valley alone? He's courting death. That's right. I remember that there is a heavenly demon in that area. Even our team can't fight it head-on. That kid is dead for sure. Chapter 3901. Genius 1 second. Remember, if you want to go. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. What the Demon Hunter team did not know was that Kang Shinmu's target was the Sky Demon in this area. That golden dragon lion had become Kang Shinmu's target. This was a demon that had just entered the Sky Demon realm not long ago, and its battle strength was not very strong. A while ago, it had wiped out an entire Demon Hunter team, so the Demon Hunter Association had issued a solo Demon Hunter mission and sent people to seek revenge. The reason why it was a solo Demon Hunter mission was because this golden dragon lion also acted alone, and was not a demon that lived in groups. Therefore, issuing a solo mission was enough. This way, the rewards that the Demon Hunter Association had to give out would be much lesser. The golden dragon lion is a hybrid between a divine dragon and a lion. But now, the divine dragon's bloodline is very little, and it is basically the bloodline of a lion. In terms of bloodline grade, it is only equivalent to the inherited blood essence of a true dragon. Kang Shinmu thought to himself. He rapidly traversed through the dense forest. Returning to his human form, he could still use the sky-piercing dragon's shadow to increase his speed, and he flashed through the forest. Ordinary demon beasts could not even touch his shadow at all. This was the natural effect of his increase in cultivation, reaching the 7th tier of the Dragon Ascension realm, and not far from the 8th tier. Not long after, he heard an angry roar coming from not far away. This made his heart skip a beat. This angry roar sounded like a dragon and a lion, and it was most likely coming from that golden dragon lion. However, this angry roar was mixed with a trace of pain. Could it be that someone was dealing with this golden dragon lion? Kang Shinmu's heart skipped a beat, and he knew that something must have happened. Two other dragon warriors who did not accept the Demon Hunter mission could naturally come to the Dragon Bone Valley to kill this golden dragon lion. But this way, Kang Shinmu would not receive the mission reward, and he would lose thousands of Demon Hunter points for nothing. Kang Shinmu quietly moved in the direction of the roar. Soon, through the dense forest, he saw two dragon warriors besieging the golden dragon lion. The golden dragon lion had a dragon's head and a lion's body. At this moment, although it was injured, the more it fought, the braver it became. Its entire body was enveloped in a layer of golden light, and the might of a sky demon could be seen at a glance. The two opponents of the Golden Dragon Lion were dragon martial artists at the peak of the Dragon Ascension realm. They were both inheritors of the true dragon blood essence. One of the frost dragons exuded a frosty aura, as if it had pulled the surroundings into a world of ice and snow. The Golden Dragon Lion's movements were also a little sluggish due to the snowstorm in the forest. The other one was the rarer Five Poisons dragon. It possessed the innate power of the five poisons, the poisons of the five elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Its combat style was very vicious and vicious. The injuries suffered by the Golden Dragon Lion had been corroded by the metal poison of the Five Poisons dragon. Its entire body was showing signs of festering. Once the Five Poisons dragon seized the opportunity, even if it was a sky fae, it could only die here. Love Go Small Say Netku. In order to complete Kang Shinmu's demon hunting mission, he only needed the Golden Dragon Lion's dragon lion horn. It was a material that could be used to refine dragon weapons. It was just that he didn't know what these two people needed. If the other party also needed the dragon lion horn, Kang Shinmu could only give up the Golden Dragon Lion's mission. Although he was not afraid of the two dragon martial artists in front of him, he did not want to cause trouble. After all, his time was tight and he did not have enough monster cores on him. It was best not to have any conflict with the other dragon martial artists. However, if the other party did not need the dragon lion horn, Kang Shinmu might be able to intervene. Now that the Golden Dragon Lion and the two dragon martial artists were fighting fiercely, they should not directly attack Kang Shinmu. So he stood up from the side and directly asked, "If the two of you can give up the dragon lion horn, I can help you. How about it?" The two dragon martial artists were a little surprised. Someone had actually appeared from the side and they had not noticed it yet. However, when they saw that Kang Shinmu was only a kid at the 7th level of the Dragon Ascension realm, they immediately lost interest. "We really don't need the dragon lion horn, but why should we give it to you?" The Five Poisons dragon said in an awe-inspiring voice, "If you dare to interfere, I will definitely let you taste the power of the five poisons." TCH, the frost dragon's eyes were full of disdain. He only glanced at Kang Shinmu and then ignored him. The two of them could easily kill the Golden Dragon Lion, so there was naturally no need to pay attention to Kang Shinmu. Moreover, Kang Shinmu's cultivation was too low, so he could not enter their eyes. Kang Shinmu frowned slightly. He did not expect that the other party would look down on him so much. But even so, Kang Shinmu did not plan to make a move, because there was no need. If he made a move now, he would not get too many benefits. Just as he was about to leave, there was a sudden change in the field. The Golden Dragon Lion suddenly split into three. There were actually 3 Golden Dragon Lions in the field, and it was impossible to distinguish which one was the real one. Most importantly, the strength of the 3 Golden Dragon Lions was actually almost the same.